WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Michael Wallace. This hour, a federal judge will hold a hearing on whether the Trump administration ignored his order blocking the deportation of suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador last week. President Trump isn't mincing words.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
More from CBS's Scott McFarland.
Do you know who signed their name to these filings for the Department of Justice? The U.S. Attorney General herself, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the number 3 official, Emil Bove, and the Chief of Staff of the Department of Justice. These are not low-ranking line prosecutors. This is the Department of Justice.
Scott tells us the judge could hold someone in contempt. Elon Musk paid a closely watched visit to the Pentagon today. CBS's Natalie Brand has more.
President Trump, along with Musk and Secretary Hegseth, all deny a report by the New York Times that the Pentagon set up a briefing for Musk on plans for potential war with China.
Hegseth says Musk was there to discuss innovation and efficiencies at the Defense Department. President Trump has announced Boeing will build the Air Force's new stealth fighter jets. CBS's Eleanor Watson is at the Pentagon.
The F-47, according to the Air Force, is built with a adaptive engine so it can adjust to different flying conditions, and notably is supposed to fly with autonomous drone wingmen.
Those future drones would be able to penetrate China's air defenses. London's Heathrow Airport hopes to resume some flights later today after a fire at a nearby substation knocked out power. CBS's Nancy Chen says Heathrow's shutdown has impacted travel around the world.
When you consider putting a complete stop on all these flights in and out, there are going to be major impacts because you have aircraft, you have crew members, you have passengers who are not where they need to be. So to get those people back to where they should be will also take time. American Airlines, for example, calling this an unprecedented situation, saying that their engineering operations have also had no power. So that's yet another thing that just one airline has to contend with.
The Trump administration is considering cutting funding for HIV prevention. More from CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
What I'm hearing from CDC sources on the inside is that the cuts are shifting literally minute to minute how this is going to play out. But ballpark, they're looking at probably 1 in 3 people at the CDC being let go.
CBS News has learned the administration has made cuts to a little-known office within the Department of Homeland Security that deals with counter-terrorism missions. The director of the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships resigned in protest. Stocks trying to stage a late comeback. The Dow's now up 4, NASDAQ down 1 point. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Are you concerned about age-related macular degeneration, or AMD? If you're over 50, then you should be. AMD impacts as many as 1 in 10 Americans over 50, severely impacting your vision and robbing you of your ability to drive, read, and enjoy the vibrant beauty of life. Now, protecting your eyes is easier thanks to New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements. Specifically formulated to improve eye health, New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements not only protect your eyes, but help improve night vision, as well as helping to relieve eye fatigue caused by digital devices. Only New Nordic uses wild Swedish blueberries because of their superior concentration of color pigments, which are vital to eye function and health. New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements are Scandinavia's #1 selling natural eye formula. But now you can find them at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com. Enjoy healthy vision with New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements. Available now at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
7 people facing charges of election fraud were due to appear in court today in Bridgeport. All face charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant is the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter Pataki. Those charged also include campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage shows Jeter Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. Police officers investigating a suspicious vehicle near the federal prison in Danbury arrested 3 New York men. Prison officials reported the vehicle to local police Wednesday morning over concerns that the occupants were going to try and sneak contraband into the facility. The 3 men from the Bronx, New York, were arrested and charged with trespassing and conspiracy. 2 of the men were also charged with resisting arrest. With the tourism season coming to Connecticut soon, some state legislators are discussing ways to make Connecticut more attractive to potential visitors. Of particular concern are the currently imposed or impending tariffs put in place by the Trump administration. State Comptroller Sean Scanlon expressed his concerns to WFSB Channel 3.
Communities like Mystic, who rely on tourism all year round, but especially in the summer, will be hurt if people have less money in their pockets due to tariff policy happening at the national level. Anything that we do to make buying goods and services more expensive is less money in the pockets of people. And when people have less money, they don't go out to restaurants, they don't travel, they don't participate in the local economy as much.
One potential plan, which has the support of the Connecticut Tourism Coalition, is raised Bill 7176, which would tax part of the revenue raised by the meal tax and put it towards the tourism fund. And the UConn men's basketball team begins its pursuit of a 3rd straight NCAA championship tonight. The 8th-seeded Huskies face Oklahoma tonight in North Carolina in their first-round NCAA tournament game. If UConn can defeat the Sooners, they will play the winner of the game between West Bracket top seed Florida and 16-seed Norfolk State. The 2nd-seeded UConn women's team begins their quest for a first NCAA title since 2016 with a first-round game against Arkansas State tomorrow in Stores. Meanwhile, the Fairfield University women's basketball team will be playing this afternoon in the first-round game against Kansas State at 2:30. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8 stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out. And Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17 stay left to get through. Traffic report powered by Courtesy Carpet Flooring Design Center. Now's the time for a fresh new look for your home. Save on top flooring brands at Courtesy Carpet. No big box gimmicks, just fair, honest prices and personal service. Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in Monroe. I'm Ange Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
You know, within the past couple of days, I was just driving around, minding my own business, running errands, coming to and from here at the radio station, and I passed a couple of Tesla service centers, one here in Milford. Now, you know, you can't technically buy Teslas here in Connecticut because the state still is one of just 5 or 6 that doesn't allow direct-to-consumer sales from car companies, and that's been bogged down because the Car Dealership Association of the state, pretty powerful, but that's another discussion for another day. But, you know, in particular, passing in front of the Tesla service center that's in Milford. And I looked over and you know it's bad, right? You know it's bad when a guy like me, now maybe it's akin to what I do for a living, but you know it's bad when a guy like me looks across and I'm actually slowing down. There wasn't too much traffic. And I look and I say, hey, I wonder if any of these Teslas is going to be damaged. I wonder if any of these Teslas is going to be keyed, as they say, or scratching something with a key. I wonder if somebody's going to run up to those Teslas and spread their own feces over them. Yes, there are videos out there of people doing that. And if you have been on social media as much as I have, or even casually, you see what's popping up on social media. There are a lot of left-wing nutcases out there. I mean, you talk about AAA sickos out there. And, of course, you know why, because Elon Musk is involved with Donald Trump and Doge and all that. But I'm telling you, if I drove a Tesla, if you Connecticut people out there are driving Teslas, you had better be scared. I'm serious. I'd be concerned. Do you see what's going on all over the country? And now there are more scheduled, coordinated events to not just damage Teslas, but actually there are videos now of people harassing other people, giving them the middle finger, screaming at them, yelling at them, keying their car because somebody's driving a Tesla. They may be the most apolitical person on the planet, but because of the crazies, the nut jobs, the people on the left that need their Thorazine and their Xanax adjusted, people are now scared. I'm reading these stories all over the country. People are scared to be driving the car they're driving. This is what the left does when it's angry. And I don't want to hear about January 6th. I've given you my theory on January 6th and how much I hated it. Let's move on. January 6th was years ago. Do not even try. Please don't waste my time today with saying, yeah, but January 6th. No, I live in the present. I don't dawdle in the past. American voters made up their minds regarding January 6th, one way or the other. They either said it was much of nothing, or it was maybe one of the worst things to ever happen in the country. But we had an election, and that's what happened. But have you seen this? As Musk takes prominent role at the White House, violent attacks on Tesla dealerships spike. It's what the left does. They turn violent. Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, targeting Jews at the Ivy League. Why is the left in this country so violent? Why are they? Well, Paul, where's the right violence? Take away January 6th. Where do we see the right attacking people for what they drive? Where do we see the right physically threatening people? Well, Paul, you know, the Bud Light boycott, and that was fine. And if the left wants to boycott Tesla, they can do that. That's the power of the purse. You want to boycott Tesla? I don't think it's smart, because just a little person will get hurt. The mechanic, the salesperson, the service tech. You're not going to take down Elon Musk. But my God, Musk critics have organized dozens of peaceful demonstrations at Tesla dealerships and factories across North America and Europe, but the attacks are keeping law enforcement busy. Prosecutors in Colorado are charging a woman last month in connection with attacks on Tesla dealerships, including Molotov cocktails thrown at vehicles and the words Nazi cars sprayed on a building. Hey, listen, if you're a left-wing nut listening to me right now, do you drive a Volkswagen? That was the original Nazi car. If you know anything about history. You drive a Ford? Oh, Mom has a Ford, huh? You know Henry Ford was a raging anti-Semite, don't you? But boy, the nutcases on the left here, more and more stories. I'm seeing this pop up in my video feed. What gives? Are you afraid? Have you started to look over your shoulder if you drive a Tesla? Or if your mother or father does, your daughter, your son, your grandson, your granddaughter, are you scared? Because of the depths that the psychotic, medication-soaked left has stooped to here? Don't believe me? Read the stories. And now I guess there are efforts to ramp this up. Why is the left so violent? Why is the left so violent in this country, whether it's George Floyd, whether it's anti-Jewish demonstrations at Columbia and at Yale and throughout the Ivy League, whether it's targeting Tesla? Why are leftists, especially over the past few years, if their medication isn't adjusted properly, why are they so violent?
There's so many in our community who make a positive impact, from innovators and leaders to local businesses and nonprofits. They do so much for Connecticut. We will recognize them with the WICC Impact Awards, and we need your help. Submit your nominations now across 6 categories at voiceofct.com. Then join us on May 14th at Fasano's Four Seasons in Stratford as we recognize your nominees. Honor those who've helped to make Connecticut better with the WICC Impact Awards.
A.G. Williams Painting, A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
Imagine your house perfectly painted. Fresh colors, clean lines, looking better than ever. And now imagine a painting experience that's just as good. We're talking friendly painters, easy communication, and never feeling in the dark. With A.G. Williams Painting, you don't have to imagine it.
A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
A.G. Williams Painting has been painting in your neighborhood since 1906, and they know how to do it right. You'll love their team, too. A.G. Williams Painting has career craftspeople who are totally dedicated to their work and invested in your project. That means peace of mind and a paint job you can be proud of.
A.G. Williams Painting, A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
Columbia Dental's Norwalk office is your go-to family dentist. They offer comprehensive care with general dentists and an oral surgeon. Conveniently located at 91 East Avenue, they're affiliated with the Columbia Implant Center in Manchester, operating 7 days a week, including holidays, to manage any dental emergency. With their in-house digital dental lab, they provide top-tier dental services, including prosthetics, ensuring all your needs are met. For more information, visit columbiadental.com and experience unparalleled dental care.
Do you have questions about real estate? Learn the secrets of real estate investing and get your questions answered during the Real Estate Show with Pat Civitella. Listen Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 for expert information about real estate investing, downsizing, and improvements before selling. Pat will help turn your real estate dreams into reality. Tune in and call The Real Estate Show with Pat Civitella. Sunday mornings from 9 to 10, right here on WICC 600 and 95.9.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow. Provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8 stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out. And Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17, stay left to get through. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Get the straight story on everything that's going on around our state. Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli is back on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
203-333-9422, 333-WICC. If you would just prefer to text me on this, I can understand it. You can text at 333-9422. But are you afraid to drive your Tesla? Are you afraid to shop for a Tesla? Did you ever think we would be in a part of America, in an era in America where people are being targeted? And this hit me the other night. People are being targeted for the car they drive. Can you imagine that? That's how psychotic the left is in this country. Critics of Elon Musk have organized dozens of peaceful demonstrations at Tesla dealerships across North America and Europe, but they are getting more violent. Musk continues to run Tesla as well as X and the rocket manufacturer SpaceX, while also serving as a Trump advisor. Some of the most prominent incidents have been reported in left-leaning cities in the Pacific Northwest like Portland, Oregon, Seattle, where anti-Trump and anti-Musk sentiment runs high. An Oregon man facing charges after allegedly throwing several Molotov cocktails at a Tesla store and then returning another day shooting out the windows. I guess his medication's doing all right, huh? In the Portland suburb of Tigard, Oregon, more than a dozen bullets were fired at a Tesla showroom last week, damaging vehicles and windows. The second time in a week the store was targeted. These people need to be arrested and dropped down a big, deep hole. Are you afraid to buy a Tesla right now? I swear, I was driving by the Tesla service center in Milford on Route 1 the other day, and I'm looking over to see, hey, were any of the Teslas there, were they keyed? Was there any damage? This is how crazy the left is. Well, you're just saying the left. Yes, I am. Because they're protesting the kind of car you drive or a consumer drives, you know, a vehicle that they may have bought because of so-called progressive values. And I hope, and Pam Bondi came out and said the other day, we're going to get these people on terrorism charges. Look, you want to scream and yell against Elon Musk all you want. That's fine. That's your right. But man, oh man, and again, you see now, if you do a little digging, this is an organized campaign that is being, and people can say, no, it's not. Read what the feds are saying. This is organized. Several deep-pocketed billionaires helping in this. Okay, and fine. Once again, if you want to protest against Elon Musk, that's fine. That's your right. Now, you may want to win elections. You may want to, concentrate on that. But come on, these idiots. Oh, you drive a swastika car. No, the original swastika car is Volkswagen, yeah. Who started Volkswagen? Oh, you must be a Hitler lover because you're driving a VW Passat. Oh, I get it, yeah. Drive a Ford, one of the original mass anti-Semites. Henry Ford, yeah. In Las Vegas, several Tesla vehicles were set on fire Tuesday outside a Tesla service center with the word resist. Oh, yeah, the resistance. Here we go again. We've been hearing that for, 10 years now, 12 years? The resistance. Authorities said at least one person threw Molotov cocktails and fired several rounds from a weapon into the vehicles. Spencer Evans, the special agent in charge of the Las Vegas FBI office, said at a news conference, was this terrorism? Was it something else? It certainly has some of the hallmarks we might think in the writing on the wall. That's what they have to do. They have to collar some of these left-wing nuts, put them on trial, and drop them in a big hole. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. And I will give a little bit of a public service to any morons out there who are thinking of keying a Tesla, or like some guy did, taking his own excrement the other day and rubbing it on a Tesla. You do know that the Tesla Cybertruck and all these other Teslas, they've got like 8 video cameras running 24/7, 365. You do know that, huh? Or are you too dumb to even realize that? My God, we're in a country now where Hey, if they don't they act like spoiled children, whether it's this, whether it's BLM, whether it's Antifa, whether it's the anti-Semitic rallies at Columbia. Hey, we're at the weekend again. Are we going to get another sob story from that Mahmoud Khalil? That guy, too? Shut up, him. Tim's in Hamden. Tim, how are you?
So we get full pardons if you smash cops and injure them on January 6th.
Tim, I said earlier, this is a different issue. Did I ever say I agreed with those pardons?
No.
Okay,
no,
this is a completely different issue.
The administration who, went around and told everybody that it was told absolutely no violence whatsoever,
Tim,
by the way,
Tim, these are different issues, and you know it. Why are you doing this? Why don't you just address what I said? Why don't you address the issue at hand?
I am saying that. I said no violence toward any Tesla owners, any cars, anything like that to begin with. Okay.
Good.
Now, I've said that from the beginning. That's a long time credo. But by the way, if you want, there are all sorts of electric cars out there made from many different manufacturers.
Of course there are.
They didn't, the average person think, and I have literally heard people say things like, that Tesla invented the, electric car.
No, there was an electric car like in 1905 or 1910 or something like that.
Actually, he bought it. He bought the company.
And he doesn't own, and Tim, I do have to run, thank you. He doesn't own he only owns like 15% of the stock or something like that. My God. And Tim, thank you. I agree with you. Here's an idea. If you're going to be a leftist nut and need your medication adjusted, please at least be an educated leftist nut.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8, stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out. And Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17, stay left to get through. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Are the taxes on your financial savings cutting into your retirement? Do you truly understand the taxes on your IRAs and 401ks? Would you like a future where your taxes are minimized and investments are sound? If you're nearing or in retirement, have at least a $250,000 portfolio, Bridgelight Financial Advisors can help. Call for a complimentary consultation. They'll show you real tax savings on your savings. 203-795-7080. 203-795-7080. Bridgelight Financial Advisors, your retirement tax strategy specialists.
Join us at Maritime Chevrolet of Fairfield and take advantage of our special Blazer EV retired service loaner fleet. Lease with $3,000 down for only $190 a month. Experience all-wheel drive and up to 279 miles of range only at MaritimeChevy.com.
Stock number 24288, 2012 miles, 10K miles per year, 24 months lease. Primary lender must approve. Excludes tax reg and dealer conveyance fee of $7.99.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text SKINNY to 323232 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text SKINNY to 323232 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SKINNY to 323232. That's SKINNY to 323232. SKINNY to 323232.
When disaster strikes, whether it's a house fire, furnace malfunction, or burst pipes,
Trust me, Felicia, the owner of Robinhood Adjusters, to be your advocate. With over a decade of experience, I specialize in increasing the settlement value of your insurance claim and shielding you from unethical lowball offers by the insurance giants. Visit RobinhoodAdjustersCT.com and see how I can help protect your interests and get you the compensation you deserve. At Robinhood Adjusters, I work for you.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. President Trump denies Elon Musk was going to be shown confidential information today. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
Trump really talked a lot about the New York Times' story about Elon Musk reportedly going to the Pentagon to meet and see plans for a future war with China. Trump said that was false.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says Musk was there to discuss innovation and efficiencies. CBS's Charlie Daggett reports Trump has announced who will build the Air Force's future fighter jets.
In a place where it's hard to keep secrets, this has been one of the best kept secrets. The next generation air dominance platform, the F-47, it's been awarded to Boeing.
The power is coming back on at London's Heathrow Airport after a fire at a nearby electrical substation. The airport hopes to resume some flights later today. The stranded passenger is not optimistic.
I might be here another day, actually. Not the worst thing in the world. It's my favorite city, but I need to be home.
CBS News Brief. I'm Michael Wallace.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
7 people are facing charges of election fraud, and they were due to appear in court today in Bridgeport. All face charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant is the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter-Pataki. Those charged also include campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage shows Jeter-Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. A state lawmaker is proposing that Medicaid payments be withheld to hospitals that are run by Prospect Medical Holdings. Prospect owes the state of Connecticut over $100 million in delinquent taxes, and the company filed for bankruptcy in January. South Windsor Senator Sawad Anwar says the state should cut the Medicaid payments to Prospect until they settle the tax bill or change their behavior. Prospect owns Waterbury, Manchester Memorial, and Rockville General Hospitals. The State Department of Public Health is urging Connecticut residents to make sure their measles vaccine is up to date. Officials say that over 300 cases of measles have been confirmed in 15 jurisdictions in the U.S. this year. That's already more cases than the country saw in all of 2024, and most cases involve people who are unvaccinated. Public Health Commissioner Dr. Manisha Juthani says all residents should check their measles vaccination status and receive the vaccine if they are not protected. A Fairfield man will be sentenced to spend 4.5 years in federal prison for the stabbing of a woman in town last spring. Prosecutors say 52-year-old Robert Van Weddle stabbed the woman during a domestic violence incident last April. Van Weddle yesterday pleaded guilty to first-degree assault in Bridgeport Superior Court. He remains in custody on $250,000 bond and will be sentenced in May. Attorney General William Tong is just one of many Connecticut officials criticizing the Trump administration's effort to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. Governor Ned Lamont says the order threatens the stability of public schools by undermining the federal government's role in supporting education. Senator Richard Blumenthal says the move will directly hurt hundreds of thousands of Connecticut students who rely on federal funding for their classrooms. State Senate President Martin Looney says he's appalled to see the nation's children are the latest victims of Trump's effort to cut taxes for the wealthy. However, Secretary of Education and former WWE executive Linda McMahon told NBC that the lack of bureaucracy will help schools.
It's going to cut the bureaucracy in education. I mean, we want to make sure that as much funding as possible can get to the states.
Local educators have been less optimistic. CSCU Chancellor Terrence Chang also spoke with NBC.
Ultimately, we think this is going to be real damage on students. It's going to be damage on faculty, and it's going to be damage on the intellectual exchange of ideas.
The U.S. Department of Education is investigating Yale University over allegations made that the department's Office for Civil Rights looking into claims that Jewish students face harassment and threats at the college. In response to the investigation, Yale issued a statement condemning anti-Semitism, saying it has no place in their community. Yale is also promising to cooperate fully with the investigation. State Democrats are pushing for more transparency from rideshare companies for both customers and drivers. Their goal is to allow an Uber or Lyft driver to see how much a customer is paying for a ride and how much of that money is going to them. Customers will also be able to see how they are spending for the ride as well. State Senator George Cabrera says this will allow drivers to be more informed about their earnings.
Driving idea is to make it crystal clear as possible when you're working for one of these companies, whether it's Uber, Lyft, or another company, what your compensation is going to be like. More and more workers are using these systems to drive Uber and Lyft to make extra money, to make a living, because the cost of living is so high.
However, state Republicans are pushing back. State Senator Ryan Fazio says that the true goal of the bill is to garner more support for drivers' unions.
This is being done for one reason and one reason only, and that is for the state government not only to encourage the unionization of these employees, but to actually collectively bargain on behalf of these employees.
The projected state budget surplus for the current fiscal year has climbed to nearly $400 million. Governor Ned Lamont's budget office reports that the projected surplus increased by $6 million since last month and is now at $396 million. The current fiscal year ends on July 1st. The state budget reserve fund, known as the Rainy Day Fund, is now projected to be at $314 million at the end of the fiscal year. And the Yale University men's basketball team lost their first-round NCAA tournament game to Texas A&M last night in Denver. Yale trailed by over 10 points for most of the game before losing by a final score of 80-71. John Poulakaitis led Yale with 23 points in the loss. The Aggies advanced to the second round of the tournament, and Yale's season is now over. The Fairfield University women's basketball team will be playing this afternoon at 2:30 in the first round game against Kansas State. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8 stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out. And Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17, stay left to get through. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Just a man, a microphone, and a lot of thoughts. Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli. WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Are you afraid to drive around with your Tesla, right? That Model S, that Model 3, that Model X, that Model Y? Because some of the psychos who don't quite have their medicine, their meds balanced out, too little Thorazine, too much Xanax, not enough Zoloft, little sprinkle of Zyprexa in there. They're vandalizing Teslas. And listen, a lot of people, I'm getting messages now. Hey, how do you know about this? Geez, God, have you read the news? Go on YouTube. Look at how many people proudly post videos of them keying Teslas. I just read you the news accounts here in a lot of progressive cities. Molotov cocktails. Tesla windows getting shot out. You watch. Something's going to happen here in Connecticut. I don't know when or where. I pray nobody gets hurt. Got a text here. Hey, Paul, what makes you think it's a left thing? Well, have you read the news? There ain't no far right wingers shooting out Tesla windows. Have you not paid attention to the anger toward Musk in Republican town hall meetings all over the country? No one in their right mind wants to give authority to an unelected South African to take away jobs from people. It's all smoke and mirrors. They've reinstated 24,000 people. They said they've fired them and rehired them a week ago. He pays no tax himself. He's a nut job. Yeah, and a lot of brilliant people are nutty. Thank you for this text. There's no far right-wing groups shooting out Teslas. They're not. All you have to do is go online and take a look at some of the groups who proudly say they are behind this. Now, if there is some far-right group that's behind this and the word comes out, I'll say you were right. By the way, if you want to look it up, there is the name of the group behind. Give me a second here. The name of the group behind all this Tesla stuff. Hold on, give me a chance here. And I'll get it for you here in a moment. There is a central group here behind all the Tesla stuff. 203-333-9422. It's crazy, Paul. When I bought my Teslas, I was called an elitist. Now I'm being called a racist. That's what I mean. As someone who's firmly on the left, I had to explain to my wife cheering Teslas getting destroyed is the same as, well, thank you. Your wife really was cheering this? Man, or maybe she was. I don't mean to misread that. As someone firmly on the left, I had to explain to my wife, cheering Teslas getting destroyed is the same as cheering for our house to get a Molotov cocktail since we bought My Pillows 10 years ago before Mike Lindell did anything political. Yeah, he kind of went off the edge there. I would point out, though, that these domestic terrorists are the crazy phrase that would compare them to the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Right and left, they're not any more violent than the other. Okay, but again, you as right wing as the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers are, you don't see them blowing up cars. You don't see them scratching property that doesn't belong to them. Again, they're not a bunch of Rhodes Scholars here, but you cannot, in good conscience, with any sort of logic, compare what's going on now to the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. You can't. It's two different things. It's two different things. Before we go to break, Jim and Bill, hang on. Henry, what's up?
Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
I can. 5 by 5, yeah.
Just give me a minute. You said left every other sentence.
Yes, because they are leftists.
You did say left every other sentence. I didn't call to argue. I like you.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
But I don't have to talk about what's the date, January 6th? I don't know, because that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those were people on the left. Okay.
No. The
Fauci,
January 6th.
Fauci.
We're not going to do this. Henry, have a nice weekend. Traffic and what? Fauci. Oofa, Fauci on WICC.
If you want the top Connecticut headlines when you wake up, you know to come to one place. That's Melissa in the Morning. Live interviews with local leaders and breaking news. You've got it on Melissa in the Morning. Plus, traffic and weather every 10 minutes. Melissa in the Morning is everything you need on your ride into work. Melissa Sheketoff, every weekday from 5 to 10 on Melissa in the Morning on the Voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
Hi, I'm Peter from Donut Delight. Donut Delight has used Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning since 1994. From installing plumbing in our new stores to maintaining our existing stores and our personal homes. Their guys have always been very professional and great to work with. Donut Delight has been very happy with Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Looking for a reliable plumbing or HVAC company? Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC has proven customer satisfaction since 1974. Go to BassoPHAC.com. That's BassoPHAC.com.
The Connecticut Lottery reminds you that gambling can be a fun form of entertainment, but it's not risk-free, so it's important to play responsibly. Make sure you understand how the games work, know the odds, set time limits, and take breaks. To find out more, visit ctlottery.org or responsibleplayct.org. Must be 18 or older to purchase lottery and 21 or older to place sports wagers. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUICK to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8, stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out, and Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17, stay left to get through. I'm Edge Krause with WICC traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
He's here to make the Merritt traffic just fly by. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Oh, man. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get the boss to okay an alternate audio stream between me and Chris, especially if you're on our Twitch feed or on our YouTube feed. Yes, by the way, you can go to the WICC Facebook page, Facebook.com/voice of CT, and click on the links and watch me do the show from the studio. Yes, I scratch my head a lot. I rub my mouth on my sleeve. It's all good. I have that list, by the way, of the organizations who are bankrolling and, running these anti-Tesla protests. Luckily, I don't think we've had any in Connecticut. But if you're a Connecticut Tesla owner or driver, are you afraid? Because now you have 5 or 6 far lefty groups, and they are on the left. The Proud Boys aren't here. The Oath Keepers, as crazy as they are, too, they're not on this list. I'll tell you who is. But are you afraid to get behind the wheel of your Tesla that you paid good money for, or send your wife out in it, or your hubby, or your daughter, or your son, because of what some sicko leftists may do? Jim in Greenwich is here. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Good, Paul. How are you today?
I'm good, Jim. I'm just making sure my car doesn't get firebombed, but it's not a Tesla, so I think I'll be okay.
Paul, you're spot on every day. I listen to you every day.
Thank you.
And it is irritating because, as yourself, I am in favor of the EVs. I mean, they're great as long as the grids could deal with all that moving forward.
Yeah.
But now you have these. I'm not going to say bad words, but they're hypocrites. I mean. Yeah. They want to drive them, and here they are, making it terrible for people. Like you're saying, God forbid somebody actually really gets hurt or killed, God forbid. But
or Jim, you know what's going to happen, and I'll let you finish. But Jim, you know what my fear is? They're going to vandalize or key the Tesla to the wrong guy, who's going to be a licensed concealed carry guy, and somebody's going to get killed. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Good point. Very good point. Very good point. But anyways, I just wanted to just say that, because, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But, geez, to damage someone's property, they're psychos. But anyway, you have a great weekend.
Thank
buddy.
you, Jim. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. You want to listen. You want to have a protest outside of every freaking Tesla dealership all over the world and service center, whatever. There's one up on Route 1 here in Milford. It's very busy because remember, you still can't buy Teslas directly from Tesla in Connecticut. Tesla doesn't have dealerships. You order them from the company, and people you see driving Teslas around here in Connecticut, they pick them up from either Westchester County or someplace in Rhode Island. But that's a whole nother thing. But if you want to protest at Tesla facilities, go ahead and do it. Bullhorns, placards. Yeah, for God's sake, don't start scratching somebody's Tesla. Don't start. I mean, folks, there is a video of a guy walking up from a Tesla, reaching his hand in his shorts and leaving his fecal matter on the Tesla. That's what we're dealing with. Now, thankfully, this isn't being done by clear-thinking liberals, but it is being fomented, shall we say, or fermented, if you get my previous reference, by about 6 or 7 groups. I'll tell you who those groups are momentarily. Bill in Easton is here. Hello, Bill. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Okay, they were complaining that Tesla didn't pay taxes. He paid $1 billion in taxes last year.
I know. I know, Bill. The guy he employs thousands of people. He gives to charity. He pays billions of dollars in taxes. What more do people want? What do they want?
These people are just too ridiculous today. They've gone so far left. They should all be put in institutions.
Well, yeah, Bill, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. I'm not into mass. Well, maybe some of them. Okay, so now, thankfully, we haven't seen the crazies yet in Connecticut. But again, we are a blue state. So think twice if you want to hand the keys to the Tesla to your son and daughter. All right, so who is bankrolling all of these? The bad now, not every demonstration is bad. They're not violent. We know that. We have to be careful about mass assumptions here. But there are the following, the feds say, are the groups that they're looking to make arrests from. There's a group called the Indivisible Project, and from what I read, they're at the head of these Tesla demonstrations. They're a Washington-based nonprofit. They've been entirely financed by, guess who? George Soros and his Open Society. They're coordinating a cross-country protest against Elon Musk, empowering grassroots affiliates to stop the Trump-Musk coup, according to its website. The group took in more than $7.6 million from George Soros between 2017 and 2023. The next group is called the Democratic Socialists of America. I've always liked that. That's kind of a contradiction in terms there. The Democratic Socialists of America, they back the campaigns of progressive Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Disruption Project is based in Philadelphia. They provide training for grassroots groups to protest climate change, and they're currently in default with the IRS. What a shock. The group called Rise and Resist, they're based in New York. They've organized protests against Elon Musk, publishing a social media toolkit on its website for what they call the Tesla takedown. There is a group called the Troublemakers. They're based in Seattle. They are a radical environmentalist organization. So there you go. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Text message here. Elon Musk got $18 billion in subsidies. Okay. And 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. And it was the SpaceX Dragon capsule that were able to exchange that crew from the ISS with Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams the other day. So Musk's capsule worked, and the Boeing Starliner is still leaking helium out of its thrusters. We had working thrusters in Project Mercury 60 years ago. So maybe the money we give to Musk is worth it. Listen, you want to protest Musk? I don't care. I love Musk. I do. And you know what I love about him? He's nuts. Look, a lot of incredible people have been called nuts. Right? A lot of people have been called crazy. Thomas Edison was called crazy. There's a theory of teaching of ADHD adults based on what's called the Edison gene. He was called nuts. Howard Hughes was called nuts. Remember how, Hughes, he's nuts. He's crazy. He pees into a jar. Yeah, he did. And he was a little weird at the end, but quite a few innovations here. Ferris is with us. Ferris, good afternoon. How are you?
Who hasn't done that, I might ask?
Well, maybe not into a jar, but some sort of receptacle. Yes.
Ferris Troy checking in from the Grand Cayman. The Grand Cayman.
I was there once. Nice place.
Yes. Well, the Grand Cayman that I'm at right now is located on the Grand Strand of South Carolina. In the city
I
of
thought
Myrtle
you were.
Beach.
Wait a minute. So you're not on the real Grand Cayman Islands? What is this?
No, I'm calling in from the Grand Cayman.
Yeah.
In Myrtle Beach. It's a resort hotel. Google it. You're quick with your fingers.
Yes, I am.
And you do like people because they're crazy.
Yeah, I do.
And
love Musk.
And therefore you must love me. But I call to say that it is National Vermouth Day.
Vermouth.
And also it is National Dementia Day. Dementia Day. And there's a new study.
Yeah.
Just out of University of Chicago,
Okay.
attributing the cause of dementia.
Yeah. Is vermouth. No.
No, it's not. But your listeners need to know this.
Hurry up.
Especially those who are involved in this. There's no involved in this type of sex, which Bill Clinton made famous, and Monica Lewinsky.
All right. Hey, that's great. We don't need to go there. Thank you, Ferris. On National Vermouth Day, he segues to Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Hey, baby, how are you?
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound construction, exits 2 and 3 stay left to get through. On the Parkway northbound, you have it from Black Rock up to exit 46. Right lane is also blocked. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, construction from exit 54 over the Sikorsky Bridge to Route 8 stay left to get through. 91 northbound North Haven construction, exits 10 and 11 left lane is out, and Route 8 northbound construction starts at exit 17. Stay left to get through. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Discover the finest flooring in Southern Connecticut at Courtesy Carpet. With over 50 years experience, we've got your flooring needs covered. From intricate area rugs, durable vinyl and laminate to elegant stair runners. Shop anywhere, but make sure to see us before you buy. Visit courtesycarpet.com to explore our extensive selection. Visit Ellen, Jay, and the team at Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in Monroe. Trust us, the experts in quality flooring. Because at Courtesy Carpet, your satisfaction is our courtesy.
Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Go to BetterNestEgg.com.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC's 695.9. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli.
All right, I'm getting a couple of texts here. Text line is humming today, 203-333-9422, as well as the phone lines. Nancy in Fairfield takes us up to news time. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good, Paul. I'm just calling because earlier you mentioned George Soros, and I think he is a coward. He stands behind what he does, in back of it. He doesn't come out in the forefront and explain his position. He'd rather work with these multi groups that he does, and that bothers me. I think it's one of the worst things ever that a person can do. Show your face, show your standing. Musk at least stands behind what he does. I have to give the man a lot of credit, and I do. I think he's doing a wonderful job. And I also feel that this morning, Melissa in the Morning
Yes.
did a great job on explaining about the dismantling of the Board of Education.
Education Department, yeah.
Yeah, State of the Education Department.
Yeah.
I think it was wonderful. She said, tell me what they are doing wrong. All of what Musk is doing is correct. We're finding out. Why are we blaming the people that are looking for these problems rather than the people that created them?
Nancy, on that note, I do have to go, but thank you so much. Yeah, Nancy in Fairfield, thank you. Nancy, I would have given you more time, but we're up against it time-wise. Nancy, thank you. We'll talk about the Education Department thing later in the show, and also more texts coming.
WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. A federal judge is holding a hearing on whether the Trump administration ignored his order blocking the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members last week. The judge is pressing the Justice Department on how quick the deportations were, giving the men no time to file challenges. CBS's Camilo Montoya Galvez has learned some of the men may not have been gang members. He explains how ICE rounded them up.
One of those techniques relies on looking at international and domestic criminal databases for intelligence or criminal records that suggest that somebody may be part of a gang. They also rely on interviews with current or former gang members, as well as the victims of potential gang members, to make these accusations.
The wife of detained Columbia University grad student Mahmoud Khalil is breaking her silence. Noor Abdallah tells CBS Sunday Morning about his arrest by ICE agents.
My husband was taken away from me in the middle of the night. It was one of the most terrifying times of my life. I don't think I've ever experienced anything scarier than that.
President Trump wants Khalil deported. There are questions over what Elon Musk was doing at the Pentagon today.
Both President Trump and the defense secretary say Elon Musk was not at the Pentagon to discuss how the U.S. would fight a hypothetical war with China.
We don't want to have a potential war with China, but I can tell you if we did, we're very well equipped to handle it. But I don't want to show that to anybody. But certainly you wouldn't show it to a businessman who is helping us so much. He's a great patriot. He's paying a big price for helping us cut costs.
Elon Musk has been trying to expand Tesla in China. At the same time, he's leading the Department of Government Efficiency, cutting federal spending. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Flights have resumed at London's Heathrow Airport after it was shut down for 18 hours due to a power outage. The BBC's Rich Preston is there.
After this day of chaos caused by that one fire at one power station, that things may be starting to get back to some semblance of normality, with Heathrow Airport themselves saying earlier that they expect a normal schedule to run tomorrow, Saturday.
Israel's Supreme Court has temporarily blocked the firing of Ronen Bar, the head of Israel's Domestic Intelligence Service. CBS's Linda Gradstein is in Jerusalem.
In a letter, Barr accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of deliberately sabotaging a deal for the freedom of the hostages and for ending the war in Gaza. He also said that his firing would mean that an investigation that has been started into whether the country of Qatar bought influence in the Prime Minister's office would be sabotaged.
Thousands of Israelis have taken to the streets this week protesting Barr's dismissal. Dow futures down 59 with an hour of trading to go. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
WICC 695.9. Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
7 people facing charges of election fraud were due to appear in court today in Bridgeport. All face charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant is the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter-Pataki. Those charged also include campaign workers Nilsa Heredia, Margaret Joyce, and Josephine Edmonds, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Jasmarie Melendez, Alfredo Castillo, and Maria Pereira. Leaked security camera video footage shows Jeter-Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. Attorney General William Tong is just one of many Connecticut officials criticizing the Trump administration's effort to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. Governor Ned Lamont says the order threatens the stability of public schools by undermining the federal government's role in supporting education. Senator Richard Blumenthal says the move will directly hurt hundreds of thousands of Connecticut students who rely on federal funding for their classrooms. State Senate President Martin Looney says he's appalled to see the nation's children are the latest victims of Trump's effort to cut taxes for the wealthy. However, Secretary of Education and former WWE executive Linda McMahon told NBC that the lack of bureaucracy will help schools.
It's going to cut the bureaucracy in education. I mean, we want to make sure that as much funding as possible can get to the states.
Local educators have been less optimistic. CSCU Chancellor Terrence Chang also spoke with NBC.
Ultimately, we think this is going to be real damage on students. It's going to be damage on faculty, and it's going to be damage on the intellectual exchange of ideas.
The U.S. Department of Education is investigating Yale University over allegations Jewish students continue to face mistreatment on campus. The department's Office for Civil Rights will be looking into claims that Jewish students are still facing harassment and threats at the college. In response to the investigation, Yale issued a statement condemning anti-Semitism, saying it has no place in their community. Yale is also promising to cooperate fully with the investigation. And the projected state budget surplus for the current fiscal year has climbed to nearly $400 million. Governor Ned Lamont's budget office reports that the projected surplus increased by $6 million since last month and is now at $396 million. The current fiscal year ends on July 1st. The State Budget Reserve Fund, known as the Rainy Day Fund, is now projected to be at $314 million at the end of the fiscal year. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound accident, exit 35. That's in the left lane. Has things backing up through Milford. On the Parkway northbound, accident reported between exit 35 and exit 36. 95 northbound overall. Plan on an hour and 15 from Greenwich to Bridgeport. Maybe a few breaks along the way through. Traffic report powered by Optimum. Take your business to the next level with Optimum Business Essentials. Get reliable, secure internet connection backup and business phone, all for just $90 a month. Visit Optimum.com/business or call 855-2-OPTIMUM today. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Pizzelli on WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
All right, let me say something. Good first hour here. I'm still laughing over some stuff that Chris and I were talking about. But having said that, let me say something right up front. And thank you so much for the phone calls and the text messages. I really appreciate them. I'm not looking for an amen chorus here. If you disagree with me, fine, let's have a conversation. But I had somebody text me here. The phone number is 860. No, I'm not going to give out your phone number. Don't worry about it. I guess saying Elon Musk paid no taxes or net whatever. And Musk says he paid billions of dollars in taxes. That's what the feds say. Listen. Here's the bottom line. And I'm not trying to be smug, although I may sound it. No, seriously, I love you all. I don't care how much somebody pays in taxes. I don't. I don't care whether they're from the center. I don't care whether they're from the far left or from the far right. I couldn't give less of a about what somebody pays in taxes. I don't. That's between them, their corporate accountants, and the IRS. And usually, if somebody's breaking the tax laws, man, the IRS generally catches up to them. It may take a few years. It may take some IRS court proceedings. But in the case of what Elon Musk pays or doesn't pay, I don't care. I care about what I owe to the IRS, what I owe to the state of Connecticut, and what I owe to New York State for one of my side gigs. That's it. I give my W-2s and my 1099s and whatever stuff and my expenses and my interest forms to my accountant, and he does his usual work, and we come out with a nice refund at the end of the year because I over-withhold. So I get myself a little bonus at the end of the tax year. That's it. So thank you for the text. I appreciate it, but I if somebody's a tax crook, they're generally the IRS will find them. All right. Are you scared too, or are you scared if your wife or your husband or your live-in lover, your domestic partner, your son, your grandson, boyfriend, girlfriend, to drive a Tesla? Now, thankfully, we haven't had the violence here that they're having in some states from, a lot of these psycho lefties. And I'm sorry, you have to be a psycho to willfully damage somebody's property and think that hurts a guy who is still worth almost $400 billion. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Are you fearing sitting behind the wheel of a Tesla? And I was going to say press the accelerator, but what, Tesla has a go pedal or something? Am I reading these EVs? I've never sat in one. Got to drive one. I've had invitations to drive them. They have different pedals or whatever. I don't know. Now, remember, there are no Tesla dealerships per se in Connecticut because Tesla doesn't do dealerships. They sell directly from the company. That's not allowed in the state. I think eventually it will be. But from what I hear, if you buy a Tesla and because of state law, you've got to go pick it up, I think, in Westchester County in New York or somewhere in Rhode Island. But there are two service centers, one, of course, on the Boston Post Road in Milford, the other on Commerce Drive in Stamford. That's it. There's just two in Connecticut. I'm sure business is good. So I find myself slowing down and looking at the one I pass probably 3 or 4 times a week, depending upon how I come to work here at Connoisseur in Milford, saying, there's some Teslas there. Any cops? Heck, if I was those folks there, I'd have 2 armed guards and a couple of real hungry German shepherds. Oh, good boy. Come here. Oh, look. Oh, there's the crazy with the multicolored hair trying to scratch up a Tesla. Go get him. Go get him. Who's a good boy? I'm sorry. I'm not advocating that unless you're destroying somebody's property. But are you, and by the way, have you gotten any dirty looks for driving your Tesla Model S or Model 3 or Model X or Model Y? Have you gotten any dirty looks? There's videos on YouTube of people getting the middle finger at a traffic light because of the car they're driving. That's how crazy it's become. It's not about loving or hating Elon Musk. I don't care if you love or hate the guy. It's good variety. It makes the world go round, but come on, really. But if you own a Tesla, if you're a Tesla owner, if you sound like Jack Kennedy. Imagine if JFK was around. The American Tesla industry. But are you afraid to drive that Tesla? Are you worried if your son or your daughter or a loved one or a significant other is on the road in his or her Tesla?
Going out to eat for half the price? There's only one word to describe that. Sweet. It's another week of sweet deals at voiceofct.com. Half-price gift cards to your favorite locally owned restaurants and businesses. But when the sweet deals are gone, they're gone. And they go fast. So don't wait. Stay local and save some dough. Grab the half-price sweet deals now at voiceofct.com.
When disaster strikes, whether it's a house fire, furnace malfunction, or burst pipes, trust me, Felicia, the owner of Robin Hood Adjusters, to be your advocate. With over a decade of experience, I specialize in increasing the settlement value of your insurance claim and shielding you from unethical lowball offers by the insurance giants. Visit RobinHoodAdjustersCT.com and see how I can help protect your interests and get you the compensation you deserve. At Robin Hood Adjusters, I work for you.
No part of your home is more important than the roof over your head. Hi, I'm Eddie Griffin, the owner of Brown Roofing, your local expert for roof replacement and roof repair. Water resistant, weather resistant, wind resistant, our products offer superior protection that come with a 50-year lifetime transferable warranty. Call us today at 475-445-1195 or visit us at brownroofing600.com. Brown won't let you down.
Inflation is at a 40-year all-time high, and with a recession looming, having an airtight plan is essential. Understanding your plan and how your money is working for you, not against you, is key.
It comes down to education. Knowledge is power. In this situation, when people get to that point, they understand what they're doing and they get to enjoy their retirement stress-free.
Tune in to Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon every Saturday morning at 8, right here on WICC 600.
The Snow Country Ski Report is brought to you by BMW of Darien. Go to Verizon and trade in any phone from their top brands in any condition on any unlimited plan for the new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Galaxy AI. Killington, Vermont always has the longest ski season in the East, and they're our Pepsi Resort of the Week.
Classic spring skiing days at Killington this week, but at the beginning of the weekend and even into next week, it's a return of some winter weather with a chance of snow and some cooler temps. Great events like the Bear Mountain Mogul Challenge coming up on April 5th. The next weekend, it's their pond skimming, plus their superstar closing party on April 12th and 13th. The season is far from over at Killington, our Pepsi Resort of the Week.
Mohawk and Sundown are back for the weekend, and Sundown has pond skimming Sunday. In the Berkshires, Ski Butternut returns for one more weekend Saturday. Berkshire East has cardboard box races Sunday. Stratton's on 60 trails in Vermont, Bromley 3 dozen slopes, and Killington with 60 miles stays open another couple months. This report presented by Smuggler's Notch, Vermont, America's family resort. Visit smugs.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound accident, exit 35. That's in the left lane. Has things backing up through Milford. On the Parkway northbound, accident reported between exit 35 and exit 36. 95 northbound overall. Plan on an hour and 15 from Greenwich to Bridgeport. Maybe a few breaks along the way through. Traffic report powered by Optimum. Take your business to the next level with Optimum Business Essentials. Get reliable, secure internet connection backup and business phone, all for just $90 a month. Visit Optimum.com/business or call 855-2-OPTIMUM today. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Ask Alexa to play WICC.
Playing WICC.
Back to Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli on WICC 600 and 95.9.
The voice of Connecticut.
All you Tesla owners out there, are you still driving your cars saying, hey, come after me? Or are you starting to worry now because this violence against Tesla owners, Tesla dealerships is starting to get a little excessive here? The videos are popping up everywhere because a lot of people don't realize, a lot of the psychos don't realize that Teslas have several working video cameras 24/7, 365. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but it's getting out there anyway. But are you like looking over your shoulders now at stoplights? Have you gotten any obscene gestures being at that stop sign or stoplight? 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. There's a very funny video out there of a guy in a Tesla taking video of a guy for like 45 seconds, and the guy, who has multicolored hair, shocking, is just flipping him the bird for like 45 seconds and not saying anything. And the guy in the Tesla is like laughing at him. Oh, jeez. Got a text here. Hi, Paul. You said George Soros was funding the first group. Can you repeat who is funding the other two? I will get to that momentarily. Our friend Charles in Danbury is here. Charles, are you behind the wheel of a Tesla right now?
No, it's a Toyota Prius. So.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
Japanese reliable vehicle that apparently my mechanic says should last me another 100,000 miles.
Nice,
so,
very nice.
Can't complain.
Very nice.
So happy Friday to you. I
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to just touch on Elon Musk, and you see these things on Facebook, on social media, where you kind of, it flips the script. So obviously this is somebody who does not approve of Trump and Musk. But they mentioned something interesting, and I haven't done my fact-checking on it, but it rang a bell with me. So I don't know if it's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. Trump is flying on Air Force One down to Mar-a-Lago to play golf most every weekend. And with him is going Musk, one of his 12 kids, or a couple of his kids.
Yeah.
And, the breakdown of that flight, round trip, one way I think is they estimated it's with fuel and security, you're looking at $500,000.
Yep.
And then all this extra security detail, you're looking at around ballpark $2 to $3 million per trip.
Yep.
I don't know, how accurate those are, but it just goes to say, if you have a problem or an issue and you want to fix it, one of the best ways to go about it is first start with your own house,
Yeah.
So, working to maybe not fly down to Florida every weekend, maybe save the taxpayers a little bit of money by not using Air Force One to go play golf every weekend. So just throwing it out there. Would love to hear your opinion on it, what you think about that, and hope you have a good weekend.
Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And look, as I said, you can be upset with, not you, Charles, in particular, but anybody. When I say you, I mean collectively. You can be upset with that all you want. You can say, hey, what the heck? The guy can't spend 1 or 2 weekends in Washington. Is it an abuse of funding? Maybe it is. If I was the president, I wouldn't go to Florida every weekend. But again, it's his home. Other presidents do it, maybe not to some extent. Reagan did it. Bush did it. It's not going to stop. I would do it less than Trump is, but he feels emboldened. He got that. He won the popular vote. He carried the GOP across the line in the Senate. He maintained the House. He won the Electoral College. So a lot of this stuff, he doesn't care. Not that that's a good thing, but I think to some extent he doesn't care. And the whole thing with Elon Musk, yeah, you can be angry at that. I get that. I understand that. But it doesn't justify targeting violence on people's vehicles, scratching their cars. There was another video of a guy who picked up his puppy's poop. His puppy had just pooped, and he picks it up, and he walks angrily over to a Tesla Cybertruck and flings it up against the side of the Cybertruck, drops a couple of F-bombs, and walks away. Okay, and that's going to do what exactly? To this text at 333-9422. Paul, you said George Soros was funding the first group. Can you repeat who was funding the other two? All right, so there's the Indivisible Project here, financed almost entirely by George Soros's Open Society organization. By the way, this guy George Soros. Listen, he's allowed to donate his money to whomever as long as it's legal. It's the guy that almost crashed the Bank of England and laughed at it. So, yeah. The second group here was the Democratic Socialists of America. Let me see if there's a funding person here. The DSA has several chapters across the country. The New York City group has revenue of more than $6.1 million. Some chapters across the country have supported Hamas after the October 7th attacks. So to our texter there, I believe the DSA just raises money on its own. I mean, you or I could give to the DSA if we wanted to. Group number 3 is the Disruption Project. Their latest federal filing shows they only have about $28,000. Now, they are linked to a group called the Action Network, established from, you remember these phonies? Occupy Wall Street. Remember those people? And you remember why they popped up? They popped up in the election cycle of Barack Obama v. Mitt Romney. Remember that? 2011, 2012? Because Mitt Romney was doing well in the polling, so Occupy Wall Street pops up a few months before the election. They arm up to criticize Mitt Romney, saying he's a tool of big business. Obama wins, and Occupy Wall Street goes away. I remember the news business. Oh, my God. My business here, they couldn't get enough. Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street. I kept telling people, don't you know these people are phony? They will go away as soon as the election is over. And they did. So to our texter, the Disruption Project is bankrolled by the Action Network. Action Network was founded by Mark Fleischman, a former union organizer who was VP of SEIU, the Service Employees International Union. Rise and Resist. They only have $30,000 in the bank. Doesn't say here who bankrolls them. The Troublemakers out of Seattle are an environmental organization. They run Tesla takedowns. And where's their money come from? They protest Amazon's power use. So that's it. So basically, it's George Soros. It's a faction of SEIU run by a union organizer. And these other groups, apparently, I guess it's just $20,000 or $30,000 worth of donations. We continue. Bottom of the hour news time, WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
95 southbound in Milford, crash remains near exit 35 as things backing up towards West Haven. Lower Fairfield County, 95 north over an hour, Greenwich through Fairfield. The Parkway southbound accident reported near exit 36. Northbound delays started about exit 34. I'm Edge Krause with WICC traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Connecticut paid leave, making time for life's most important moments.
To recover from illness or injury, to give your employees peace of mind,
to welcome home an active duty service member,
to help a loved one get better,
to get help for your mental health,
to welcome a new addition to your family,
to leave an unsafe home.
Learn more about accessing the benefits of Connecticut Paid Leave. Visit ctpaidleave.org.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you know how much money you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. These may feel like scary times. Several economists are saying that a recession is imminent. So what do? Ancient wisdom says plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have an actionable plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan is executed to take advantage of market gains, but protect you from market losses. We would like to give you a free, no-obligation consultation to help you do all three. We will help you discover your magic number and give you the roadmap to get there. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108. 800-508-6108. Don't wait. Call 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. A federal judge is about to start a hearing on whether the Trump administration ignored his order to turn around plane loads of alleged Venezuelan gang members that were being deported. Trump has called for the judge to be impeached. He claims Secretary of State Marco Rubio doesn't need a judge's permission.
He's gone to so many different countries already, and he's got the authority to get bad people out of our country.
The president announced Boeing will build the new F-47 fighter jet. Air Force General David Alvin.
We're going to write the next generation of modern aerial warfare with this.
The plane is designed to penetrate China's air defenses. The BBC's Rich Preston reports flights are landing at London's Heathrow Airport again after it was shut down by a substation fire.
Air Canada and also United in the US earlier saying that they have been told that they can get their passengers in the air as of Friday evening, flying to London Heathrow.
Heathrow was shut down for 18 hours. CBS News Brief. I'm Michael Wallace.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Several people facing charges of election fraud were due to appear in court today in Bridgeport. All face charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant is the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter Pataki. Those charged also include campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage shows Jeter Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. A Fairfield man will be sentenced to spend 4.5 years in prison for the stabbing of a woman in town last spring. Prosecutors say 52-year-old Robert Van Weddle stabbed the woman during a domestic violence incident last April. Van Weddle yesterday pleaded guilty to first-degree assault in Bridgeport Superior Court. He remains in custody on $250,000 bond and will be sentenced in May. Police officers investigating a suspicious vehicle near the federal prison in Danbury arrested 3 New York men. Prison officials reported the vehicle to local police Wednesday morning over concerns that the occupants were going to try and sneak contraband into the facility. The 3 men from the Bronx, New York, were arrested and charged with trespassing and conspiracy. 2 of the men were also charged with resisting arrest. State Democrats are pushing for more transparency from rideshare companies for both customers and drivers. Their goal is to allow an Uber or Lyft driver to see how much a customer is paying for a ride and how much of that money is going to them. Customers will also be able to see how they are spending for the ride as well. State Senator George Cabrera says that this will allow drivers to be more informed about their earnings.
The driving idea is to make it crystal clear as possible when you're working for one of these companies, whether it's Uber, Lyft, or another company, what your compensation is going to be like. More and more workers are using these systems to drive Uber and Lyft to make extra money, to make a living, because the cost of living is so high.
However, states Republicans are pushing back. State Senator Ryan Fazio says that the true goal of the bill is to garner more support for drivers' unions.
This is being done for one reason and one reason only, and that is for the state government not only to encourage the unionization of these employees, but to actually collectively bargain on behalf of these employees.
The State Department of Public Health is urging Connecticut residents to make sure their measles vaccine is up to date. Officials say that over 300 cases of measles have been confirmed in 15 jurisdictions in the U.S. this year. That's already more cases than the country saw in all of 2024, and most cases involve people who are unvaccinated. Public Health Commissioner Dr. Manisha Juthani says all residents should check their measles vaccination status and receive the vaccine if they are not protected. A state lawmaker is proposing that Medicaid payments be withheld to hospitals run by Prospect Medical Holdings. Prospect owes the state of Connecticut over $100 million in delinquent taxes, and the company filed for bankruptcy in January. South Windsor Senator Saad Anwar says the state should cut the Medicaid payments to Prospect until either they settle the tax bill or change their behavior. Prospect owns Waterbury, Manchester Memorial, and Rockville General Hospitals. With the tourism season coming to Connecticut soon, some state legislators are discussing ways to make Connecticut more attractive to potential visitors. Of particular concern are the currently imposed or impending tariffs put in place by the Trump administration. State Comptroller Sean Scanlon expressed his concerns to WFSB Channel 3.
Communities like Mystic, who rely on tourism all year round, but especially in the summer, will be hurt if people have less money in their pockets due to tariff policy happening at the national level. Anything that we do to make buying goods and services more expensive is less money in the pockets of people. And when people have less money, they don't go out to restaurants, they don't travel, they don't participate in the local economy as much.
One potential plan, which has the support of the Connecticut Tourism Coalition, is Raised Bill 7176, which would tax part of the revenue raised by the meal tax and put it towards the tourism fund. The Yale University men's basketball team lost their first-round NCAA tournament game to Texas A&M last night in Denver. Yale trailed by over 10 points for most of the game before losing by a final score of 80-71. John Poulikaitis led Yale with 23 points in the loss. The Aggies advanced to the second round of the tournament, and Yale's season is over. And the UConn men's basketball team begins its pursuit of a third straight NCAA championship tonight. The 8th-seeded Huskies face Oklahoma tonight in North Carolina in their first-round NCAA tournament game. If UConn can defeat the Sooners, they will play the winner of the game between West Bracket top seed Florida and 16-seed Norfolk State. The second-seeded UConn women's team begins their quest for a first NCAA title since 2016 with a first-round game against Arkansas State tomorrow in stores. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound in Milford, crash remains near exit 35 as things backing up towards West Haven. Lower Fairfield County, 95 north over an hour, Greenwich through Fairfield. The Parkway southbound accident reported near exit 36. Northbound delays started about exit 34. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Saying everything that's on his mind. Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli. WICC 695.9. The voice of Connecticut.
Want to get into something that Chris Williams just had in the newscast. It was on my show sheet to bring up now. Rather than actually do something regarding our high electric bills in the state, rather than do something regarding the overall tax burden in this state, our electric bills are the second highest in the state. Our tax burden in the country, rather. Our tax burden is number 3 in the nation. Connecticut's very expensive to do business in. Forgive me if I sound like a crack record, but the majority Democrats in Hartford are doing nothing more than trying to curry favor with unions. Right now, what are you talking about here? Well, in case you missed it, in Chris's news story there a couple of minutes ago, there is a bill. Now, did you ever hear of a burning desire to do this? No. In a cycle where people can't pay their freaking electric bills, in a cycle where people are having trouble paying their property taxes, in a cycle where a lot of people say public safety is being hamstrung here in the state, what are the majority Democrats worried about? Especially those who are on the Labor Committee. They want to put their thumbs on the scales of a business agreement between people who drive for ride-sharing companies and those companies. What am I talking about? Well, there's a nonsense bill, an utterly nonsensical bill that would mandate that drivers for the companies have to know what the ride is costing the individual, what the company's making on the ride. Basically, Democrats in Hartford want to open up the company's books to employees. Now, you know why they want to do this, don't you? Now, here's what they say. Here's State Senator George Cabrera now, Democrat. Now, Senator, why do we need this idiotic bill?
Driving idea is to make it crystal clear as possible when you're working for one of these companies, whether it's Uber, Lyft, or another company, what your compensation is going to be like. More and more workers are using these systems to drive Uber and Lyft to make extra money, to make a living, because the cost of living is so high.
Yeah, okay. And translation, we're kissing the backsides of the unions. And as the Republicans are saying, and we have a Republican coming up here at the top of the hour to talk about this, you understand what's going on here. Yes, he is right. More and more people are using these ride services. So the unions, remember, these drivers are not unionized in Connecticut. And how do Democrats keep getting elected in Hartford? Union votes, which is fine. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But please, can we stop saying, well, you know, the reason we're doing this is the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba and the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba and wah-wah-wah-wah-wah. No. This is all setting the stage for what's happening in other states here, is to create tension. The goal here from the Labor Committee in Hartford, because nobody's yelling for this. God forbid the General Assembly have to actually spend time on the electric bills, our tax burden, high crime still in several cities. No, we have to get in the middle of the relationship between an independent contractor and his or her company. 203-333-9422. 333 WICC. Do you honestly think that a driver for Uber or Lyft or DoorDash is entitled to know about what percentage the company is getting on that ride, what percentage the people are paying? I mean, is this serious? I mean, are we serious here? Has there been and this is kind of a rhetorical question, has there been a screaming sort of push for this whole thing? I mean, come on. Why are we? Well, you know why this is being done. It's to kiss the backsides of the unions. Because remember, the only way Democrats win anything in this state, is because of union voters. So again, if they can create tension between those Uber and Lyft and DoorDash drivers and the companies, the Democrats will come in and say, we will save you because we will mandate that those companies can only operate in Connecticut if they're unionized companies.
When you want the top Connecticut headlines when you wake up, you know to come to one place. That's Melissa in the Morning. Live interviews with local leaders and breaking news. You've got it on Melissa in the Morning. Plus, traffic and weather every 10 minutes. Melissa in the Morning is everything you need on your ride into work. Melissa Sheketoff, every weekday from 5 to 10 on Melissa in the Morning on the Voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
Selling your home is a numbers game. The more potential buyers who see it, the greater the opportunity to sell. And when your home is listed on Smart MLS, more than 21,000 realtors see it, and so do all their buyers. Suddenly, the number of people looking at your home starts to grow by a lot. More realtors sharing your listing, more people seeing your home, more offers coming in, and maybe even more cash in your pocket. Smart move, right? Ask your realtor. Is my house on Smart MLS? Smart MLS, the smart way to sell your home.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
95 southbound in Milford, crash remains near exit 35 as things backing up towards West Haven. From Lower Fairfield County, 95 north over an hour, Greenwich through Fairfield. The Parkway southbound accident reported near exit 36. Northbound delays started about exit 34. I'm Edge Krause with WICC traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Connecticut has a lot of problems. Here's the man who will solve them. Connecticut Today with Paul Pizzelli. WICC 600 and 95.9. The Voice of Connecticut.
And I have to, I have to again let people know, and I'm not please, I'm not trying to be arrogant, honestly, because I'm getting more stuff in my email, more stuff in my text message ledger. Tesla reported zero federal income tax in 2024. Musk paid this or that. Listen to me very carefully. I don't care. God bless you for listening to the show, for listening to me. And if you'd like to further discuss Elon Musk, that's fine. Elon Musk does what every other major corporation does. They take advantage of the tax code. It's what I do. It's what you should be doing. You should be paying as little tax as possible. And we're going back to the scenario here of Tesla's getting vandalized across the U.S., and everybody is rip-snorting you-know-what at Musk. All right, fine. And thank you for the emails and the texts, but well, you know, Musk is not paying his taxes. I don't care. I care what I pay in taxes. The propensity of some people is fascinating for me to continue to bang their heads on the walls about the U.S. tax code. Well, I have an idea. Vote for people who will change the tax code. And here's the truth. Let me just give you the truth here. If not enough people are elected that want to change the tax code, guess what? The tax code is not going to change. And big corporations like Tesla, like every other corporation you can find, they will pay as little tax as possible. And I'm sure their shareholders, of which Tesla is a publicly held company, their shareholders are probably happy by and large. I'm sure there's a percentage that don't like this tactic, but they'll say, hey, yeah, because the less you guys pay in taxes, state taxes, federal taxes, whatever, is basically tied into how much I get back as a dividend or what the value of the stock is for my retirement portfolio. So, again, I understand people are angry at Elon Musk, and to which I say, well, listen, then elect somebody who will change the tax code. Well, Paul, we can't with Trump. Then let's circle back to my thought earlier. If you had logical policies that the majority of the company, of the country rather, not the company, if you had logical policies that the majority of the country deemed okay, we would be talking about a President Kamala Harris, a Vice President Tim Walz, and maybe Democratic control of one or both members of Congress, but you didn't. The party that may have tightened up the taxes on people like Elon Musk chose to do nothing on immigration, chose to do nothing about ensuring Second Amendment rights, chose to keep waving the flag of transgender athletes in the face of most of Americans who don't like that. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If you want the tax code changed because of people like Elon Musk, you got to look at the other policies. That your party is coming out like they are gospel. And again, let me just show this. It has been analyzed since Election Day that probably the most effectual TV ad that the Trump campaign ran was the one saying, hey, the other side wants transgender athletes. We support girls and women athletics. But yet it doesn't stop. All you have to do is look at this headline. A transgender runner blows out the competition, sets season records in girls' races at an Oregon high school track meet. So before you can concentrate on changing the tax code, you got to get elected. And you've got to stop advocating for the stuff that prevented you from getting elected. But apparently this is not happening. The same Oregon high school that came under fire last year for allowing a transgender athlete to compete against girls continues to blow away the competition 1 year later. Ada Gallagher, running as a 10th grader at McDaniel High School in Portland, finished in first place in the 200-meter and 400-meter races during the Division 6A1 Portland Interscholastic League Championship in 2024. Now, in 11th grade, Gallagher was back on the track for another meet at her home track where she was spotted again easily besting the competition, especially in the 400 meters, that's the metric quarter mile, where she finished more than 7 seconds better than the rest of the field. Her winning time was 57.62 seconds in the 400 meters. The second place finisher, a biological woman, was 1 minute 5.72 seconds. The transgender runner ran the 200-meter race as well, winning that one. Both were season records. So there you go. So, again, I appreciate your concern over tax policies. That's good. I applaud that. We should all be examining tax policies. But to change stuff you got to get elected. And to get elected, you've got to push away from policies that, hey, you may not like it, but they get national coverage now. And yes, here's a story in Oregon, a decidedly progressive state, picked up by a conservative newspaper like the New York Post, and I'm talking about it. So there's the ecosystem right there. But again, this is in part how Donald Trump won the election. Not altogether, but in part. Now, I don't know whether I agree with Bill Maher to this point. You know, Bill Maher on HBO. I think he's on Friday night now, Real Time with Bill Maher, who is an outspoken, he calls himself a traditional liberal. Bill Maher has been saying, unless there is a hard and thorough divorce by the Democratic Party connected to these transgender policies, Maher thinks that the Dems will get stuck with this over and over and over and over again on a national basis. Is he right? I don't know. But again, to the very nice person who, you know, texted stuff in about, you know, Elon Musk not paying taxes. Well, to change that, you got to change the tax code. And to change the tax code, you got to win elections. And to win elections, you got to stop doing the stuff that gets you defeated. And yet there is a faction of the Democratic Party, and it's interesting now because there are all these articles now. It's kind of like, what did I read? The Clinton wing of the party is now already trying to muscle itself back in to control of the Democratic Party, telling Democrats, hey, this transgender stuff, this embracing of this far left stuff, we got to stop because we're going to keep losing no matter how egregious people think Trump is. We're going to keep losing. Maybe we win if the economy fully tanks. Maybe, who knows? But we're going to keep losing. So again, this is setting up as the Obama wing again, and the Clinton wing again. Now I know that AOC is trying to unite with Bernie Sanders. Stop the Bernie Sanders thing. Stop it. And I admire Bernie. Like I said, if for no other reason that he could take a one-syllable word, like the word here, and turn it into two syllables. What we have here. Where do we have this? Here? Here. Okay. But God bless Bernie. He's in his mid-80s. He's still cranking it out on the Sunday talk shows. But that ain't going to get you elected. It's just not. By the way, talk to anybody, as I have. Talk to anybody who lived in Burlington, Vermont while Bernie was mayor. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just seek out their opinion, shall we? As we get toward the top of the hour on a Friday right here on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound in Milford, crash remains near exit 35 as things backing up towards West Haven. Lower Fairfield County, 95 north over an hour, Greenwich through Fairfield. The Parkway southbound accident reported near exit 36. Northbound delays started about exit 34. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Support the Bridgeport Rescue Mission through Jersey Mike's Round Up program and Day of Giving. All month long, round up your purchase or donate directly at participating Stamford and Greenwich locations. On March 26th, the Day of Giving, 100% of sales go to the Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Your contribution provides hot meals, housing, clothing, addiction support, and life skill classes to those in need. Together, we provide hope and make a difference. Visit brm.gives for more information.
Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at betternestegg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Go to betternestegg.com.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC's 695.9. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli.
All right, news coming up, traffic and weather together, by the way. I didn't get to this yet. I got to mention this to you. It's Friday. I wanted to have a little fun here on a Friday on our Facebook page, facebook.com/voice of CT. Once again, facebook.com/voice of CT. You know, March Madness is up and underway. UConn plays tonight. The Fairfield women, I think, also played today. That game, I think, might be nearing its completion. Yale got beat last night. The UConn women, I think, played tomorrow night. Question I put up, are you placing any bets on March Madness using any of the legal wagering outlets in Connecticut? Now, if you're still using a bookie, you don't have to answer this. But if you want to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/voice of CT, I'm just kind of interested in this because, man, you watch these games and you know the point spread and the over-under and everything. Yes, I get it. It's now legal. I understand it. We're making money from it. There are people who have a tough time with this. Melissa talked this week to Diana Good from the Coalition for Problem Gambling, so we always solicit her input here. She's been on this show before, also with Melissa and with Lisa. But have you started now doing this just as kind of something regular? So facebook.com/voice of CT. And your name's going to be there, so don't divulge how much money or how much you made, but just are you placing any bets on March Madness now that you don't need a bookie?
WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Michael Wallace. A federal judge has heard from the Justice Department and is now hearing from attorneys for the Venezuelan nationals who were deported from the U.S. last week. The judge wants to know if the Trump administration ignored his order blocking those deportations. President Trump says the men were violent gang members.
They're tough people. They're bad people. We don't want them in our country. We can't let a judge say that he wants them. You know, he didn't run for president. He didn't get much more than 80 million votes.
More from CBS's Scott McFarland.
This is the front line of a standoff between the administration and the federal courts, and we are going to see how he carries it this afternoon.
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyon says agents have rounded up more suspected members of that same Venezuelan gang.
The past 48 hours, ICE, along with our local partners and our other fellow federal agencies, have arrested more than 68 TDA gang members, terrorists, in the United States.
President Trump has announced the next generation of fighter jets.
The president made the announcement in the Oval Office.
The Air Force is going to be awarding the contract for the next generation air dominance platform to Boeing.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was there.
This is a big day for our warfighters. This is a big day for our country.
The F-47 is designed to carry a fleet of drone aircraft. Critics question the cost and necessity of the program, saying the Pentagon has not yet fully produced its current most advanced jet, the F-35, while the F-47 will have many of the same advanced technologies. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Defense Secretary Hegseth denied a New York Times report that Elon Musk was at the Pentagon today to get a briefing on a potential war with China.
There was no war plans. There was no Chinese war plans. There was no secret plans. That's not what we were doing at the Pentagon.
Hegseth says Musk was there to talk about innovation and efficiencies. Some places cleaning up after this week's severe weather could get more of it this weekend.
Strong storms, including confirmed tornadoes, caused widespread damage this week from Texas and Oklahoma into the lower Midwest and east to the Carolinas. An EF4 tornado hit the small town of Diaz, Arkansas, southwest of Jonesboro. Diaz Mayor Perry Stegall.
And it's just total destruction. There's trees everywhere, lines down. It was really bad.
The National Weather Service is predicting more severe weather in the mid and deep south this weekend. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Flights have resumed at London's Heathrow Airport after a power outage, but the damage has been done to flight schedules worldwide. Officials say the electrical substation fire that caused the outage appears to be non-suspicious. The airport hopes to get its schedule back to normal tomorrow. At the close on Wall Street, stocks mixed. The Dow down 27 points, the Nasdaq up 86. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The 7 people facing charges of election fraud appeared in court today in Bridgeport and all pleaded not guilty. They faced charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant was the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter-Pataki. Those charged also included campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage showed Jeter-Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. In addition to pleading not guilty, all 7 asked for jury trials, with Heredia's attorney asking for accelerated rehabilitation because, quote, she has been cooperative throughout the process. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. The judge continued the case until May 7th. State Democrats are pushing for more transparency from rideshare companies for both customers and drivers. Their goal is to allow an Uber or Lyft driver to see how much a customer is paying for a ride and how much of that money is going to them. Customers will also be able to see how they are spending for the ride as well. State Senator George Cabrera says that this will allow drivers to be more informed about their earnings.
Driving idea is to make it crystal clear as possible when you're working for one of these companies, whether it's Uber, Lyft, or another company, what your compensation is going to be like. More and more workers are using these systems to drive Uber and Lyft to make extra money, to make a living, because the cost of living is so high.
However, state Republicans are pushing back. State Senator Ryan Fazio says that the true goal of the bill is to garner more support for driver unions.
This is being done for one reason and one reason only, and that is for the state government not only to encourage the unionization of these employees, but to actually collectively bargain on behalf of these employees.
The State Department of Public Health is urging Connecticut residents to make sure their measles vaccine is up to date. Officials say that over 300 cases of measles have been confirmed in 15 jurisdictions in the U.S. this year. That's already more cases than the country saw in all of 2024, and most cases involve people who are unvaccinated. Public Health Commissioner Dr. Manisha Juthani says all residents should check their measles vaccination status and receive the vaccine if they are not protected. And the UConn men's basketball team will begin its pursuit of a 3rd straight NCAA championship tonight. The 8th-seeded Huskies face Oklahoma tonight in North Carolina in their first-round NCAA tournament game. If UConn can defeat the Sooners, they will play the winner of the game between West Bracket top seed Florida and 16-seed Norfolk State. The 2nd-seeded UConn women's team begins their quest for a first NCAA title since 2016 with a first-round game against Arkansas State tomorrow in stores. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound Stamford, accident near exit 7. Left lane is blocked. On the southbound side of Milford, crash near exit 35 remains. Backup starts in West Haven. On Merritt Parkway, southbound, overturned vehicle between exit 37 and 36. Stay to the right to get through. On the Upper Merritt northbound, another accident at exit 50. That's in the right lane. Traffic Report is powered by Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Bridgeport Rescue Mission provides vital services to men, women, and children facing hunger, homelessness, and addiction. If you or a loved one needs help, visit bridgeportrescuemission.org for more information. I'm Mitch Krass with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
All right, so like you just heard there in Chris's news at the top of the hour, a rather interesting proposal coming out from legislative Democrats, particularly on the Labor Committee, the General Assembly's Labor Committee, that it sounds like they want to make it law that the rideshare companies open their books to their drivers and their employees. Now, is there some benevolence here, or are there ulterior motives? Joining us right now, and he's been very vocal about this, State Rep Joe Canino. He represents District number 65 in the Torrington area as a Republican. Hey, Joe, it's Paul here on WICC. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good, Joe. Thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. I read this story about a push here to legislate the move that would make the ride-sharing companies, in a sense, go through their billing process to their drivers here, and the Democrats want this etched into law. What are your thoughts about this, and what do you think the actual motive is behind this?
Well, Paul, there already is transparency in these transactions, and that is that the driver sees immediately when they take any ride exactly how much they're going to be paid for that service. And that's about all that they're entitled to. Now, if the employer wanted to share more information, more power to them. But for state government to, like you said, force them to open their books, not only to the riders, not only to the drivers, but to their competitors as well, there's a big problem with government overreach with that. And the motive behind this is clear as day. It's to get the drivers for Lyft and Uber unionized, to get them to band together, to stoke their envy by forcing the company to disclose how much money is being charged on top of the money being paid to the drivers. And it really is just an overreach of state government.
Yeah. Now, Joe, I don't drive for these people. I've only taken an Uber or a Lyft once or twice, and it was in New York when I was seeing my son. But, I heard the logic for this bill, explained by some legislative Democrats. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. How can these drivers be completely in the dark about what they're getting paid here? So is this, as you say, is this just a gradual effort here to try and, stoke some envy, or to say, hey, you should be paying us more? Because don't they get the information, as you said, up front?
They absolutely do. When they get the opportunity to take a ride, they can see exactly how much it's going to cost and exactly how long the ride is going to take. All this would require is that the full amount that the customer is paying for the ride is going to be placed there as well. So, the company might have to have some additional expenses to maintain the app, or to pay insurance costs, or to pay state compliance costs, or federal costs associated with federal regulations. They might have a small profit margin. All of these things get factored into it, but all the driver is going to see, here's how much I'm getting paid, here's how much the company is getting, and it is really just going to, like I said, stoke the envy in those drivers, really get them incensed, and really encourage them to unionize, and that is the clear idea for Democrats.
When Joe Canino, you pointed this out, as I'm sure in the debate on this bill, what did your Democratic counterparts say to you? How did they react to that?
Well, they really just said that the driver deserves to know what the company is making. And I countered saying it is really not up to us here in Hartford what the driver deserves to know. The exchange of information in that instance is a consensual negotiation between the employer and the employee. And actually, I misspoke. They're not employees. They are independent contractors.
Yeah.
That is another part. Other aspects of this bill seem to be treating them more like employees than independent contractors. And again, we're talking about a private business here. with government, again, in the state of Connecticut, sticking its nose in and making things more difficult. I mean, they raised the fee for Uber and Lyft to register in the state to $50,000.
Yeah.
When asked why that is, oh, well, because other states are doing it. Okay, but did you use a formula to calculate why that fee is going to be needed to put in place? Are there, costs to regulating these businesses? Well, we weren't given any of those answers. All that was said was, well, other states are doing it, so we figured we would as well.
Joe, hang on. I'll be right back with you. The guest is Republicans Torrington State Rep Joe Canino. He is on the Labor Committee. When we come back, I want to talk to Joe about a package of laws or a bill containing certain things, which also would mandate I kid you not, kids, it would mandate the temperature of drinking water on the job, no, we're not kidding, that employers would have to give to their employees.
There's so many in our community who make a positive impact, from innovators and leaders to local businesses and nonprofits. They do so much for Connecticut. We will recognize them with the WICC Impact Awards, and we need your help. Submit your nominations now across 6 categories at voiceofct.com. Then join us on May 14th at Fasano's Four Seasons in Stratford as we recognize your nominees. Honor those who've helped to make Connecticut better with the WICC Impact Awards.
Are the taxes on your financial savings cutting into your retirement? Do you truly understand the taxes on your IRAs and 401ks? Would you like a future where your taxes are minimized and investments are sound? If you're nearing or in retirement, have at least a $250,000 portfolio, Bridgelight Financial Advisors can help. Call for a complimentary consultation. They'll show you real tax savings on your savings. 203-795-7080. 203-795-7080. Bridgelight Financial Advisors, your retirement tax strategy specialists.
It sounds like
it goes
it's like a whistle?
No matter what noise your car is making, call Fairfield Motor Works, 203-333-1800. Specializing in Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and domestics, it's honest, reliable repairs at low prices. For the mechanic you can trust, call Fairfield Motor Works, 203-333-1800. So when your car goes ping or swoosh, call 203-333-1800. Fairfield Motor Works, in Fairfield, off exit 25. They keep you going. Fairfield Motor Works.
Spring is in the air at Gusto Trattoria in Milford. For this season of Lent, come to Gusto for lunch or dinner and enjoy special pizzas, homemade pastas, and a thoughtful selection of freshly prepared fish specials. Plus, book Gusto's private party rooms for all your upcoming family celebrations and business events, and let Gusto handle all the details. Spring is in the air. Come enjoy it at Gusto Trattoria in Milford, 255 Boston Post Road, Milford. The art of Italian living. GustoTrattoria.com.
Discover the finest flooring in Southern Connecticut at Courtesy Carpet. With over 50 years experience, we've got your flooring needs covered. From intricate area rugs, durable vinyl and laminate to elegant stair runners. Shop anywhere, but make sure to see us before you buy. Visit CourtesyCarpet.com to explore our extensive selection. Visit Ellen, Jay, and the team at Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in Monroe. Trust us, the experts in quality flooring. Because at Courtesy Carpet, your satisfaction is our courtesy.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1897. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1897. That's 800-575-1897. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound Stamford, accident near exit 7. Left lane is blocked. On the southbound side of Milford, crash near exit 35 remains. Backup starts in West Haven. On Merritt Parkway, southbound, overturned vehicle between exit 37 and 36. Stay to the right to get through. On the Upper Merritt northbound, another accident at exit 50. That's in the right lane. Traffic report is powered by Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Bridgeport Rescue Mission provides vital services to men, women, and children facing hunger, homelessness, and addiction. If you or a loved one needs help, visit bridgeportrescuemission.org for more information. I'm Mitch Krass with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Let's get back to the conversation. 203-333-9422. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli, the voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
As we're joined for another few minutes by Republican State Rep Joe Canino, 65th District, representing Torrington. We'll get back to open phones momentarily. So, Joe, I'm also reading in the various publications here, and I started to see something about the temperature of drinking water at some employers around the state, and apparently now we're concerned about heat injuries in the state here. Now, did I miss a rash of heat injuries here? Joe, please explain this to me here.
No, you did not, Paul. So this is Senate Bill 830. While well-intentioned, it is a completely duplicative, redundant piece of legislation that will do nothing but add regulations and headaches to our employers here. There's a number of different regulations in here, but one of the key ones that you pointed out requires an employer, and these pertain to employers who most of their employees work most of their day outside, so think agriculture work, maybe landscaping. The employer has to provide them with water, exactly, I believe it's 32 ounces of water, and that water must be above or below 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So we asked, what if it's 78 degrees Fahrenheit,
what happens?
That water? That employer is liable for a civil suit.
If the water is too warm, an employee could sue the boss.
And even further, if the temperature gets even a little bit hotter, over, I think it was 92 to 95 degrees, every 2 hours, the employer is required to give his employees a 10-minute break. Now, all of these things sound great in a vacuum, but when you realize that these things are already regulated by OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is a federal agency, there really is no problem here. In one piece of testimony that we received showed that in the decade between 2011 and 2020, less than 30 individuals suffered serious heat-related illnesses in Connecticut on the job, and not a single person, fortunately, passed away because of heat-related illness. So when the proponents of this bill talk about people dying and people getting severely hurt because of this, it's really not the case here in Connecticut. This is just a solution in search of a problem, and again, a vast overreach of government.
Yeah, and Joe, listen, again, back to the whole thing with the rideshare drivers, Uber and Lyft. I think you and the Republicans who've said this, all right, this is pandering. This is kissing the backsides because, again, hey, look how much we're looking out for you, and you owe us. So if we pave the way to help you guys form a union, you're going to owe us and we'll owe you, and there's the quid pro quo. Joe, it's mind-numbing to me when we should be talking about lower taxes, lower electric bills, lower costs of doing business here. But, Joe, this is why, and people have alluded to me for years, hey, you should run for the General Assembly. And I said no, because my head would explode because of stuff like this. I don't know how you do it, Joe. I don't know how you do it.
Well, my head is about to explode because one part of this that I missed, when it's above 80 degrees, the employer needs to remind his employees to drink water. One of the most basic human functions that we all have a natural, willingness to do.
Oh my God.
And here you have legislation forcing employers to remind their employees, talk about the nanny state. Like you said, the Labor Committee is focusing on things like this when they should really be focusing on how to attract more workers to the state of Connecticut, how to make this state more attractive for businesses.
Yeah.
You know, Senate and House Republicans have proposed legislation creating a construction pipeline to increase the amount of apprenticeship opportunities and the amount of training opportunities for people wanting to get into the skilled trades. But meanwhile, you have the Labor Committee promoting certain bills like we saw yesterday, where they're now going to give federal workers who were fired under the Trump administration preference for state jobs. So where was the state of Connecticut when all of these insurance companies went under and laid off their employees, or manufacturers, or restaurants, or you name it, laid off their employees? Those employees never got preference for state jobs. Only the federal workers fired by the Trump administration. This is a clear attempt by the state administration, by Connecticut Democrats, to make a political statement here and play political favoritism with people's jobs.
Unreal. Joe Canino, Joe, State Rep, Torrington, 65th District, Republican. Joe, thanks. We'll have you on down the road. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Joe Canino. I mean, come on, folks. This stuff is nuts. They're just kissing the backside of labor over and over again. Well, the Uber or the Lyft or the DoorDash driver, they need more information about what the company is charging for that. It's none of their business. Sometimes, call me old-fashioned. I'll be 64 in a few weeks. Thank God, still feel good. Knock on wood. Sometimes it's none of the employee's business as to what the company is making or the company financials, but not if you work in Connecticut. Oh, no. Because God forbid the General Assembly spend their time on lowering the electric bills, on getting rid of the public benefit charge, on lowering taxes, on lowering the cost of doing business. Maybe the Uber and Lyft and DoorDash, maybe they only want their drivers to see certain dollar figures on the app. That's their business. And come on, we're wasting time telling workers they better drink water. Did you hear the lunacy in that bill from Joe Canino? That if an employer actually fails to instruct his employees to drink water, that would break a law. If the drinking water provided to the employees was above 78 degrees, that would break the law. Can you believe this is lunacy? And then in a couple of months, when it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and the majority Democrats come out with an 800-page budget bill and they give it to the Republicans and say, hey, you have to read this in a half an hour because we're voting on it, their excuse is going to be, well, we didn't have enough time in the session. What, God forbid if the water at an outdoor job site is 78 degrees. It's lunacy. But again, it's to be expected because many of you vote for the same people over and over again every 2 years. You can't script this stuff. This is why I could never be in the General Assembly. And believe me, I've had people over the years, from doing these shows, they approach me, hey, you should. I said, no, you don't want me in Hartford. You don't. Because they'd be walking me out the first day. Rob in Meriden here. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Hey, Paul, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Yeah, just listening to the comments about, the proposed legislation. I really got to say, as somebody who works in the trades, I spend a lot of time working outdoors.
Sure.
Previously, I worked out in Texas where it's really hot in places like Lubbock.
It's crazy hot. Yeah.
It's a lot nicer here up in the Northeast, but unfortunately, it is getting hotter. As far as attracting workers to the state, honestly, I think legislation like this goes, a long way. It shows that at least somebody cares about thinking about workers like us. You get out of a 130-degree attic in the summer after installing an air conditioner. It's nice if your employer gives you pardon my language, gives you some cold water or something, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. But Rob, here's the thing with that. And you're right. In principle, that's good, right? But now you've been on job sites. Now, this law, for example, says, well, the water can only be as high as 77 degrees. Well, what if you're on a job site, right, or working in a house, right, and somebody sticks a thermometer in the water and says, you know, Rob, this water's 80 degrees. I'm going to call a lawyer. See, that's why this stuff is a little nuts, right?
I think there's some flexibility. Like, you could easily add a clause to say that an employer should take, good, honest effort to complying with the.
Yeah.
If an employee complains that, hey, we want cold water, you're not providing it, there should be some recourse to say, okay, that's fair.
And let's remember, and Rob, I do have to run because I'm up against the time. Well, let's remember, there's OSHA, right, on the federal level, and remember, there is also, as there is in every state, there is a state labor board too, and all this stuff can be, reported to the state labor board. I just think that when you put this stuff in bills, with all due respect to people in Rob's position, you have lawyers there just licking their chops.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound Stanford, accident near exit 7. Left lane is blocked. On the southbound side in Milford, crash near exit 35 remains. Backup starts in West Haven. On Merritt Parkway, southbound, overturned vehicle between exit 37 and 36. Stay to the right to get through. On the Upper Merritt northbound, another accident at exit 50. That's in the right lane. Traffic report is powered by Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Bridgeport Rescue Mission provides vital services to men, women, and children facing hunger, homelessness, and addiction. If you or a loved one needs help, visit bridgeportrescuemission.org for more information. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Now you can find out who's under the helmet and behind the jersey with the Rudin Report Athlete Profile. High school sports are made great by the student athletes who play them. Check out the High School Athlete Profile, sponsored by BMW of Darien at therudinreport.com. Need the perfect flowers for any occasion? Trust Cityline Florist, Trumbull's local florist for 108 years and 4 generations. From birthdays to anniversaries, celebrations to just because, Cityline Florist delivers stunning, high-quality flowers, same day, anywhere in the country. Stop by their beautiful gift shop and greenhouse at 2978 Nichols Avenue in Trumbull, or order online at citylineflorist.com. Cityline Florist, making life's moments bloom since 1917.
Columbia Dental invites you to come to their Norwalk office for your entire family's dental health. It is their mission to provide you with comprehensive dental care you and your family deserve. Visit Columbia Dental in Norwalk, located at 91 East Avenue, open 5 days a week, or visit their Manchester location at 483 Middle Turnpike West, open 7 days a week. Columbia Dental, here for you and your family for regular checkups or emergency visits. ColumbiaDental.com.
Dine out for half price. It's a sweet deal week at voiceofct.com. Great local restaurants are offering $50 gift cards for only $25. Go to voiceofct.com, click on the sweet deal banner. Restaurants include AB's Falafel, Little Pub, Joseph's Steakhouse, Twisted Vine, Caloroso Eatery, Gusto, Hair of the Dog, Twin Pines, Sports Center, The Adventure Park, Choice Pet, and more. Buy $50 gift cards for only $25. Go to voiceofct.com, click the sweet deals banner.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. A judge is holding a hearing to find out if the Trump administration ignored his order blocking the deportation of suspected Venezuelan gang members last week. President Trump is defending his use of the Alien Enemies Act.
That's what the law says, and that's what our country needs, because unfortunately, they allowed millions of people to come into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked.
Strong winds are fueling wildfires from Texas to the Carolinas. Brad Bramlett is with the South Carolina Forestry Commission.
It seems like everything's under control, but then a big gust of wind can come by, grab a spark or an ember, and then throw it over into the woods, and then the high winds just takes it off, and all of a sudden you've got a wildfire.
London's Heathrow Airport has resumed operations after a fire at an electrical substation knocked out power. Now, travelers are scrambling to find flights out.
It'll just take me an extra day to get back to my wife and my daughter, and they're probably, wishing I would get home already.
Heathrow was shut down for 18 hours. CBS News Brief, I'm Michael Wallace.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The 7 people facing charges of election fraud appeared in court today in Bridgeport and all pleaded not guilty. They faced charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant was the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter Pataki. Those charged also included campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage showed Jeter Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. In addition to pleading not guilty, all 7 asked for jury trials, with Heredia's attorney asking for accelerated rehabilitation because, quote, she has been cooperative throughout the process. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. The judge continued the case until May 7th. Attorney General William Tong is just one of many Connecticut officials criticizing the Trump administration's effort to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. Governor Ned Lamont says the order threatens the stability of public schools by undermining the federal government's role in supporting education. Senator Richard Blumenthal says the move will directly hurt hundreds of thousands of Connecticut students who rely on federal funding for their classrooms. State Senate President Martin Looney says he's appalled to see the nation's children are the latest victims of Trump's effort to cut taxes for the wealthy. However, Secretary of Education and former WWE executive Linda McMahon told NBC that the lack of bureaucracy will help schools.
It's going to cut the bureaucracy in education. We want to make sure that as much funding as possible can get to the states.
Local educators have been less optimistic. CSCU Chancellor Terrence Chang also spoke with NBC.
Ultimately, we think this is going to be real damage on students. It's going to be damage on faculty, and it's going to be damage on the intellectual exchange of ideas.
The U.S. Department of Education is investigating Yale University over allegations Jewish students continue to face mistreatment on campus. The department's Office for Civil Rights will be looking into claims that Jewish students are still facing harassment and threats at the college. In response to the investigation, Yale issued a statement condemning anti-Semitism, saying it has no place in their community. Yale is also promising to cooperate fully with the investigation. A Fairfield man will be sentenced to spend 4.5 years in prison for the stabbing of a woman in town last spring. Prosecutors say 52-year-old Robert Van Weddle stabbed the woman during a domestic violence incident last April. Van Weddle yesterday pleaded guilty to first-degree assault in Bridgeport Superior Court. He remains in custody on $250,000 bond and will be sentenced in May. Police officers investigating a suspicious vehicle near the federal prison in Danbury arrested 3 New York men. Prison officials reported the vehicle to local police Wednesday morning over concerns that the occupants were going to try and sneak contraband into the facility. The 3 men from the Bronx, New York, were arrested and charged with trespassing and conspiracy. 2 of the men also were charged with resisting arrest. A state lawmaker is proposing that Medicaid payments be withheld to hospitals run by Prospect Medical Holdings. Prospect owes the state of Connecticut over $100 million in delinquent taxes, and the company filed for bankruptcy in January. South Windsor Senator Sawad Anwar says the state should cut the Medicaid payments to Prospect until they settle the tax bill or change their behavior. Prospect owns Waterbury, Manchester Memorial, and Rockville General Hospitals. With the tourism season coming to Connecticut soon, some state legislators are discussing ways to make Connecticut more attractive to potential visitors. Of particular concern are the currently imposed or impending tariffs put in place by the Trump administration. State Comptroller Sean Scanlon expressed his concerns to WFSB Channel 3.
Communities like Mystic, who rely on tourism all year round, but especially in the summer, will be hurt if people have less money in their pockets due to tariff policy happening at the national level. Anything that we do to make buying goods and services more expensive is less money in the pockets of people. And when people have less money, they don't go out to restaurants, they don't travel, they don't participate in the local economy as much.
One potential plan, which has the support of the Connecticut Tourism Coalition, is raised Bill 7176, which would tax part of the revenue raised by the meal tax and put it towards the tourism fund. The projected state budget surplus for the current fiscal year has climbed to nearly $400 million. Governor Ned Lamont's budget office reports that the projected surplus increased by $6 million since last month and is now at $396 million. The current fiscal year ends on July 1st. The State Budget Reserve Fund, known as the Rainy Day Fund, is now projected to be at $314 million at the end of the fiscal year. And the Yale University men's basketball team lost their first-round NCAA tournament game to Texas A&M last night in Denver. Yale trailed by over 10 points for most of the game before losing by a final score of 80-71. John Poulakaitis led Yale with 23 points in the loss. The Aggies advanced to the second round of the tournament, and Yale's season is now over. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Premier northbound accident remains exit 50 in Trumbull on 95 north. Plan on well over an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. A couple breaks along the way through. Further ahead on 95, busy but moving now through Milford and West Haven. Wilbur Cross southbound, plenty of company through Hampton and going into the West Rock Tunnel in Woodbridge. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
He'll tell you what's really going on. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on the voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
All right, open phones. Hey, you know who's back? Next hour, I'll give you, guess who's coming back in a bit. We'll tell you straight ahead. And again, to our previous caller and to the previous guest, Joe Canino, I'm not sitting here and saying, you idiots working in hot environments and in outdoor conditions. No, I understand it gets hot. I get it. I understand it. I marvel at you people in the summertime. You're working outdoors on job sites, or as our caller said, in renovation projects and these big attics. It's 89, 90 degrees outside. It's 130 in there. I get it. I understand, but the chance you take with bills like this, we all know that there will be employees, there will be lawyers out there, and believe me, I love you lawyers, I love you barristers, counselors. I have a number of them in my circle of friends and in my families. There will be people to say, so you measured the water and it was 78 degrees and not 77. You know that there are people like that. Hopefully not too many. And again, if you want to pass these bills, I get it. The Labor Committee tries to curry favor with organized labor. I get it. I'm not going to deny that. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But my God, they're to me, and you may disagree with me, and you can, at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Or you can text that number too. We have a state labor board. We have OSHA. And as Joe Canino said, yes, there have been employees over the years that have been overcome by heat on the job. Yeah. But the whole thing is when you introduce laws and you start peeling back a layer here and a layer there, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a law will create more potential pitfalls than it solves. And again, I I am just so upset. In the limited time lawmakers have in Hartford by statute, by the state constitution, that we take time for this just to curry favor with certain groups, while the major group that people should be currying favor with, the voters of this state, the taxpayers of this state, are getting no relief on electric bills. None. Zip, zero. No relief on taxes. None. Zip, zero. And now they want to tax deliveries. We told you about that. Well, it's only 28 cents per delivery. You don't think that's going to get passed along to people at an increase every year? And sometimes the solutions are right in front of their faces, but they won't do it. And we have a scenario where, you have lawmakers who won't have the guts, as I said, to take on the growing number of EV owners. And there's nothing wrong with owning an EV. I'm not saying that. But every EV sold in this state affects the revenue stream in the state transportation fund. And sadly, Connecticut is far behind other states who have found a solution to that and have balanced out the scales, for example, between EV owners, and those are great vehicles. I think the technology is wonderful, and those of us who still drive internal combustion engines, or families that still have both. Sometimes an EV is a second or third car in a family. It fits that category. That's great. But instead of increasing a fee for this and a fee for that and a fee for this, have the courage. I wish our legislators would have the courage to just confront problems like the EV, loss of revenue in the state transportation fund. Confront that. And maybe you want to put the temperature of drinking water on the job. You may want to drop that back just a hair.
AB's Falafel announces this $16 weekday lunch special. Come for lunch and enjoy the most flavorful falafel sandwich, chicken shawarma sandwich, or beef shawarma sandwich, all served on a fresh pita with fries and a soda for only $16. AB's Falafel is consistently voted best Middle Eastern food in Connecticut, now offering a complete weekday lunch special for only $16. Come have lunch at AB's Falafel, 10 Broadway Road, Trumbull, and absfalafel.com.
Hello, Fairfield County. You're invited to come and enjoy the R.D. Cinto free community Shakespeare event series at R.D. Cinto in Shelton. Nights with Shakespeare features a dramatic weekly play reading of Twelfth Night with actor Leo Schaff. Nights with Shakespeare is free and open to the public. It's every Tuesday at 6:30, now through April 29th, at the Cinto Auditorium at 3 Corporate Drive in Shelton. Learn more and attend. Go to nightswithshakespeare.com for more information.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
It's time for the Market Scoreboard Report with Ron Insana. Now on WICC's 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
I'm Frank Miller for Ron Insana. Well, stocks ended just a bit lower following a choppy day of trading on Wall Street. It was a day heavy on the economic front with several reports released. The Labor Department said that first-time claims for unemployment benefits were a bit higher the week ended March 15th. Those were up 2,000 to 223,000, and that's compared to last week's 221,000. Economists were looking for claims to climb to 224,000. Elsewhere, the Conference Board said that its leading economic index dropped a bit in February as consumers' expectations of future business conditions turned a bit more pessimistic. The Conference Board says its leading economic index dropped 0.3% in February after dropping 0.2 back in January. Elsewhere, a report from the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia said that regional manufacturing activity expanded overall but was a little less widespread during the month of March. And the National Association of Realtors said that existing home sales unexpectedly rebounded in February. Those were up 4.2% to an annual rate of 4.2 million.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Premier northbound accident remains exit 50 in Trumbull on 95 north. Plan on well over an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. A couple breaks along the way through. Further ahead on 95, busy but moving now through Milford and West Haven. Wilbur Cross southbound, plenty of company through Hampton and going into the West Rock Tunnel in Woodbridge. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Never miss a moment when you listen through your Amazon Echo.
It's Connecticut Today.
It's Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli on the Voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
And streaming on video too. Yes, go to our Facebook page every day, facebook.com/Voice of Connecticut, Voice of CT, and I put the links there for you to click on and stream this here program. Hello to people. I'm waving at the camera right now. You can stream us on Twitch, which is a very popular video streaming service, or on YouTube. So there you go, right? And you'll say, oh my God, that's what he looks like. Yeah, well, and he's wearing that shirt. Ugh. Sorry, didn't shave today. It's one of those like, oh man, yeah, whatever. Love me the way I am. Earlier in the show, we talked about whether you, in this general area, are afraid to drive your Tesla. A lot of Teslas on the road here in Connecticut. Never driven one, but I have read extensively about the tech. I think the tech is amazing. And electric vehicles are only going to get better. I mean, think about it. We're only really about the hardcore EV push. We're about 10 years into it, maybe? And remember, what was the Toyota Prius, I think, was the first one. Remember those first-generation Priuses? Man, they were dog-looking. But now the new Priuses are pretty hot-looking, pretty slick. They got that wedge shape going. You can get a performance model of the Prius. You got Tesla. Everybody makes either a straight EV or a hybrid. And I was asking you, though, are you a little worried now because of the left-wing kooks? And yes, I'm going to continue to say left-wing kooks because they are. In a lot of progressive areas, not just protesting Elon Musk. You can do that. That's fine. But keying, scratching people's Teslas, throwing excrement on them, sometimes taking sledgehammers to them, which is sadly going to end up in somebody meeting the business end of a gun because they're going to do it to the wrong person, I fear. But having said that, are you worried? Now, there are no Tesla stores or dealerships here in the state. There are only 2 Tesla service centers in our area, one in Stamford and one in Milford on the Post Road. But are you afraid of driving a Tesla, of a relative driving a Tesla, of buying one? So it's fortuitous that I mentioned this today because a story just cleared about 5 minutes ago in The Hill, thehill.com, they talked to the folks at Edmunds. And they said, hey, what's going on with Tesla sales, new sales, used sales? Is there a trend here? And that's what I asked you. What are you thinking? Are people flipping you out, driving your Tesla because of Elon Musk? Are you afraid it's going to get vandalized? Did it get vandalized? Edmunds says its data shows a potential shift in buyers' feelings toward Tesla. And they're saying this based partly on a record high number of Tesla trade-ins. Now, of course, this is happening, they believe, because of Elon Musk. Activists in San Francisco hanging flyers, urging folks to get rid of their swastikars. Of course, they think that's because Elon Musk, in the perception of some, did a Nazi salute. He said it wasn't. However, a lot of these people probably drive Volkswagens, which was Hitler's original pet project. They drive Fords, company name from one of the biggest anti-Semites around, but I digress. Tesla trade-in numbers have reached an all-time high. Trade-ins. Edmunds observed that Tesla vehicles model 2017 and newer, so they're going back 8 model years, accounted for 1.4% of trade-ins toward non-Tesla models in March of 2025. That's a record high, though, for Teslas. It's usually, they say the Tesla trade-in number here is fascinating. It's 0.4%, so 0.4. So they've gone from 0.4 to 1.4. There you go. Edmunds also says shoppers are not seeking out new Teslas at the same rate they used to. The company's data showing buyer consideration for new Teslas fell to 1.8% from a high of 3.3%. So that's almost a 50% drop. However, and this is the point a lot of people make toward these protesters. And again, you want to protest Elon Musk, that's fine. Stop with the vandalism. As one of my emailers said today, that's bad karma. Karma will bite you. This is me saying it, not the letter writer. It'll bite you, right? As my father used to say, in the keister. There's been no significant drop, however, in shoppers seeking out used Teslas. Prices have yet to fall significantly for the brand's used vehicles, but Edmunds analysts are expecting that to change as the result of increased trade-ins. You know, you have more trade-ins, the price goes down. Supply and demand, economics 101. One resident of Chicago told WGN-TV he's indeed considering selling his Tesla anyway following the incident in which his car was vandalized. See, there you go. There's the left. The psychos who need their Xanax adjusted. Considering selling his Tesla after his car was vandalized with a swastika sticker and a sticker that said, Heil Elon. These people are such morons. The idiocy of these people is you know what it is? It makes me sad. Because you look at these people, they're angry, they have multicolored hair, they just don't look happy. Why do people on the left look so unhappy sometimes? And yeah, there are people on the right that are angry, but my God, it's a strange. I mean, whether it's, you know, how they dress, whether it's the 18 pieces of metal that are stabbed through their cheek and their nose and their ear and their navel and their eyebrows. Seriously, honestly, how do these people, how do they make it through an airport metal detector?
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Upper Merritt northbound accident remains at exit 50 in Trumbull on 95 north. Plan on well over an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. A couple breaks along the way through. Further ahead on 95, busy but moving now through Milford and West Haven. Wilbur Cross southbound, plenty of company through Hampton and going into the West Rock Tunnel in Woodbridge. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Join Elder House Adult Day Center for a night at the aquarium Thursday, April 3rd from 6:30 until 9:30 p.m. at the Maritime Aquarium at Norwalk. A celebration of community benefiting Elder House Adult Day Center, honoring Rick Tabella and Greens Farms Academy. Hors d'oeuvres, dinner, cocktails, and an auction. Tickets at elderhouse.org/events. The Elder House Night at the Aquarium Thursday, April 3rd. For tickets and info, visit elderhouse.org/events. That's elderhouse.org/events.
Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at betternestegg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Go to betternestegg.com.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC's 695.9. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli.
And if you don't want to come on the radio and say this, I understand, because people may say, oh, I know who that is. You can text me at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Once again, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Are you worried about driving your Tesla around? And again, thankfully, thank God, we haven't heard about the vandalism, the personal attacks, Molotov cocktails going off at some dealerships and service centers away from Connecticut. Thank God, and we certainly don't want to have that here. But is what's happening now with this? Is this kind of giving you second thoughts of like, hey, honey, let's not take the Tesla, let's take the Buick, or let's take the GM. You know what I mean? Or maybe you say, listen, I'll drive it, but honey, I don't want you driving it. Don't give it to the kids, whatever. Don't give it to mom and dad. We'll take it. I mean, honestly, you have to be thinking that, and that's the worst part of this. Listen, like I said, you can, for any good reason, want to protest against Donald Trump or Elon Musk. That's not the deal. But when we turn to violence, and like I always say, what I always say, when people see or hear violence, they don't hear or see your message. It's like people who protest in the Middle East. Well, the minute you blow yourself up, or the minute you blow yourself up with an intention of blowing other people up, it just doesn't work. People will plug their ears into what you're saying. So again, if you want to talk about maybe you got flipped off, maybe somebody screamed at you, but you don't want to come on the radio, that's fine. Send me a text or email text 333-9422 or email Paul, P-A-U-L, Paul, at voiceofct.com. He's been gone for a while. He's back. Chris Caruso will hold court with us.
WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. A federal judge heard arguments this afternoon about last week's deportations of suspected Venezuelan gang members and whether the Trump administration ignored the judge's order to turn those planes around. More from CBS's Jake Rosen.
Judge Boasberg said he may tweak his temporary restraining order in some ways or another before an appeals court hearing on Monday, but the Trump administration is basically banking on this to be heard by an appeals court Monday and potentially then go to the Supreme Court if they do not have an appeals court on Monday or Judge Boasberg revoke his block on these deportations.
Columbia University will reportedly agree to President Trump's demands so $400 million in federal funding can be restored. The school will ban masks, give its campus police more powers, and appoint someone other than faculty to oversee its Middle East Studies Department and its Center for Palestine Studies. The wife of detained Columbia grad student Mahmoud Khalil is breaking her silence Noor Abdallah tells CBS Sunday Morning about the moment ICE agents arrested her husband.
For me, I think the reason I was so calm was because I was like, this is just a misunderstanding. They're going to take him away. They're going to take him to 26 Federal Plaza, see that he has a green card. He'll be home in a few hours.
The Trump administration wants to deport Khalil. President Trump is denying a New York Times report that Elon Musk was at the Pentagon today to get a look at confidential plans for a hypothetical war with China.
If they ever wanted to do that, I think Elon wouldn't do it. I think he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't want to put himself in that position.
CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
The concern, of course, is that somebody who is an unelected senior government official working at the behest of the president may have been read into some incredibly top secret or classified information this morning. And that may have been part of why sources were eager to get that information out.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says Musk was there to talk about efficiencies at the Pentagon. Flights have resumed at London's Heathrow Airport after an 18-hour shutdown due to a power outage. James Crothers had just taken off from JFK, bound for London, when his flight had to turn around.
About 5-10 minutes later, the captain told us that there had been a fire. Frankly, I just wanted to sleep. I really wanted to just go to bed, but at that point, things got a bit exciting, so I was quite happy to end up in JFK again.
London authorities say the substation fire that knocked out the power at Heathrow was non-suspicious. Mount Spur near Anchorage, Alaska, is expected to erupt within weeks or months. Resident Enrique Caraveo is getting ready.
I've done some research on the last time it erupted. Just want to stay safe. Heard that the ash could last a few days, not get to breathe in. So figured I'd come down to Home Depot, buy a respirator.
The volcano last erupted in 1992, covering Anchorage in ash. Stocks finished the day slightly higher. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you enjoy fatty foods, sweets, and alcohol? Who doesn't? Unfortunately, all those things put a lot of pressure on our liver. That's why pharmacist, best-selling author, and nutritional expert Sherry Torkos recommends Active Liver from New Nordic.
The liver is an incredible organ. It works nonstop to process toxins and chemicals from our food and drinks, medications we take, and even environmental exposures. As a health expert, I'm often asked how to support the liver's natural detoxification process and offset the effects of fatty foods, sugar, and alcohol. I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. This gentle plant-based supplement is an effective way to support your liver's vital functions as well as your energy and overall well-being.
With its powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, Active Liver is the perfect way to keep your liver healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The 7 people facing charges of election fraud appeared in court today in Bridgeport and all pleaded not guilty. They faced charges of mishandling absentee ballots related to the 2023 mayoral primary. The most prolific defendant was the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, Wanda Jeter-Pataki. Those charged also included campaign workers Josephine Edmonds, Margaret Joyce, and Nilsa Heredia, as well as 3 sitting city council members, Maria Pereira, Alfredo Castillo, and Jazz Marie Melendez. Leaked security camera video footage showed Jeter-Pataki allegedly placing multiple absentee ballots into a ballot box. She was fired from her position as a greeter at the Margaret Morton Government Center last year. In addition to pleading not guilty, all 7 asked for jury trials, with Heredia's attorney asking for accelerated rehabilitation because, quote, she has been cooperative throughout the process. All of the defendants are free on written promises to appear in court. The judge continued the case until May 7th. A Fairfield man will be sentenced to spend 4.5 years in prison for the stabbing of a woman in town last spring. Prosecutors say 52-year-old Robert Van Weddle stabbed the woman during a domestic violence incident last April. Van Weddle pleaded guilty yesterday to first-degree assault in Bridgeport Superior Court. He remains in custody on $250,000 bond and will be sentenced in May. The State Department of Public Health is urging Connecticut residents to make sure their measles vaccine is up to date. Officials say that over 300 cases of measles have been confirmed in 15 jurisdictions in the U.S. this year. That's already more cases than the country saw in all of 2024, and most cases involve people who are unvaccinated. Public Health Commissioner Dr. Manisha Juthani says all residents should check their measles vaccination status and receive the vaccine if they are not protected. A state lawmaker is proposing that Medicaid payments be withheld to hospitals run by Prospect Medical Holdings. Prospect owes the state of Connecticut over $100 million in delinquent taxes, and the company filed for bankruptcy in January. South Windsor Senator Sawad Anwar says the state should cut the Medicaid payments to Prospect until they settle the tax bill or change their behavior. Prospect owns Waterbury, Manchester Memorial, and Rockville General Hospitals. And the projected state budget surplus for the current fiscal year has climbed to nearly $400 million. Governor Ned Lamont's budget office reports that the projected surplus increased by $6 million since last month and is now at $396 million. The current fiscal year ends on July 1st. The State Budget Reserve Fund, known as the Rainy Day Fund, is now projected to be at $314 million at the end of the fiscal year. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound accident near exit 6. Northbound, you have about an hour from Greenwich through Bridgeport, and that's all congestion delays. The Lower Merritt might save you a few minutes at this point. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, an accident in Hampton near exit 60 being moved off the highway, and out of New Haven on 95, jamming through Long Wharf into West Haven. Traffic report is powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Elifson and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give: peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
Clear this evening and overnight with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunday sunny with a high in the upper 40s to near 50. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
All right, back to open phones and text messages at 203-333-9422, 333 WICC later in the hour. But I am thrilled that this guy is back. You know, a lot of people over the past few months have said, hey, how's Chris Caruso doing? How's he doing? He, people say they used to love the Friday segment I did with him. Little speed bump health-wise, but he is back and I guess better than ever. Mr. Caruso, how are you, sir? It's great to have you back.
I'm doing well, Paul, and it's good to hear your voice, and thank you for inviting me back. I always love the show and being on there on Fridays. Yep.
Well, Chris, people were asking, and they send you your their good wishes. So let's start. Boy, Chris, a lot has happened since you and I last talked. Let's talk about what's going on right now with the forefront, Chris. We had these 5 people connected to the Bridgeport absentee ballot scandal, which, oddly enough, is still going on since the last time you talked to me. They all entered not guilty pleas today. So viewing this from afar, as you have over the past few months, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, Paul, this is very serious. It's probably one of the first times that the state's attorney's office has gotten involved. Mm-hmm. State's attorney are the prosecutors for the state. And it's not being handled by the local state's attorney. It's being handled by the state attorney, out of the Hartford area. And so it means there's a seriousness to this. And they've done the investigation and the evidence and so forth. Now, I'm a believer in the Constitution, the rule of law. Mm-hmm. So everyone is innocent until proven guilty. However, if they are convicted, any one of these individuals are convicted, there needs to be jail time. And I've said this before, because in order for the laws to have any teeth, any strength to them, people have to do jail time. And the message has to be sent: when you defraud the people of the state, defraud the people of Bridgeport, and through election corruption, it has to be taken seriously. So I'm pleased to see that the state's attorney's involved. It adds a level of seriousness and focus, and I think that's important. And in the legislature, there's new rules being put together dealing with absentee ballot abuse.
I saw that. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, today there's suggestion of a municipal board being formed that could step into any community and oversee the election so it's done fairly and honestly.
Chris, isn't part of the battle too, and I read about what you said about these new laws that are being considered in Hartford, isn't part of the battle, though, not just getting these laws passed or as best as you can do, but getting people to get rid of the cynicism? Because they're going to roll their eyes, Chris, and they're going to say, yeah, whatever. They can put in whatever, but it's Bridgeport. That drives me nuts, and it's sad we're at that point.
You're right. And, Bridgeport takes the bum rap on a lot of things. Sometimes it's frankly deserving, and other times it's not.
Yeah.
And most of the times it's not deserving. As I said before, Paul, because I did chair Government Administration Elections Committee for the legislature, there were other towns where absentee ballot abuse had taken place. There were other communities throughout the state, small rural cities, boroughs in the state, where there was election violation with filing for campaigns, the donations and all.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't happen with Bridgeport. I think what brought attention to Bridgeport was the videotape, where, supposedly ballots were being stuffed into the ballot box at the various locations. I think that's what brought light to it. And it also said at that point that the state couldn't turn its head. Now, the only way that people will gain respect for the system, for the electoral process, is if people serve jail time that are convicted of the crime. And on top of it, you do one or two elections, and if it's done fairly and objectively, I think people will regain their confidence in the electoral process. But the rule of law has to mean something. It has to mean something. And the only way that the rule of law means something, my mother always told me, probably yours too, especially in an Italian household, for every action there's a consequence or a reaction, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Right. And, like she used to tell me, Christopher, if you go to jail, you're going to sit in the jail cell because I'm not coming to bail you out.
There you go. Yeah.
So that stuck in my head.
My father, Chris, used to phrase it thusly: "Hey, kid, you're going to get a boot in the ass." That's what I.
That's right. And so that put the fear of God in you, and it made you think, and that's what the rule of law in many ways is meant to do, and those who violate it have to be punished accordingly.
Yeah, Chris, hang on. We're going to do another segment here. Chris Caruso back on the program. Going to ask Chris coming back about a lot, the National Democratic Party scene, also the continued entertainment from the Board of Education, and what Chris thinks about what's going on up in the General Assembly, where he spent years and years with Governor DeLong. Chris Caruso back with us. Open phones to wrap it up later on, right here on WICC.
Going out to eat for half the price? There's only one word to describe that: sweet. It's another week of sweet deals at voiceofct.com. Half-price gift cards to your favorite locally owned restaurants and businesses. But when the sweet deals are gone, they're gone, and they go fast. So don't wait. Stay local and save some dough. Grab the half-price sweet deals now at voiceofct.com.
Selling your home is a numbers game. The more potential buyers who see it, the greater the opportunity to sell. And when your home is listed on Smart MLS, more than 21,000 realtors see it, and so do all their buyers. Suddenly, the number of people looking at your home starts to grow by a lot. More realtors sharing your listing, more people seeing your home, more offers coming in, and maybe even more cash in your pocket. Smart move, right? Ask your realtor. Is my house on Smart MLS? Smart MLS, the smart way to sell your home.
Sometimes the most important personal breakthroughs are made possible by medical ones. And that's why Yale New Haven Health's Heart and Vascular Center delivers the pioneering science of Yale School of Medicine, like groundbreaking research that helped redefine the international guidelines for treating heart failure, and a new procedure to detect coronary microvascular disease, often misdiagnosed in women. Yale New Haven Health and Yale School of Medicine. Together, we're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
Experience the future of luxury with the new all-electric Escalade IQ, now available at Cadillac of Greenwich. Standard with hands-free driver assistance technology and Super Cruise, the Escalade IQ offers undeniable style and uncompromising comfort. with the longest range of any EV SUV. Arrive in style with this pinnacle of modern automotive excellence. Visit CadillacofGreenwich.com today and elevate your driving experience with the iconic 2025 Cadillac Electric Escalade IQ.
At Abriola Parkview Funeral Home in Trumbull, we understand that planning for life's milestones is important. But what about planning for your funeral? While it may be difficult to consider, pre-planning can ease the burden on your loved ones during a challenging time. By planning now, you can ensure that your wishes are honored without leaving emotional or financial strain on your family. Visit Abriola.com to learn more about our compassionate pre-planning services. Plan today for peace of mind tomorrow.
Whether your current home security is just a lock and paranoid dog, or if you have an outdated system ready for an upgrade, achieve security and peace of mind when you call the experts at Property Protection Consulting. Go to ppcalarms.com, see their solutions, view their videos, gain simple state-of-the-art security all working in concert and fully installed at a low cost. Schedule your complimentary consultation. ppcalarms.com.
Support the Bridgeport Rescue Mission through Jersey Mike's Round Up program and Day of Giving. All month long, round up your purchase or donate directly at participating Stamford and Greenwich locations. On March 26th, the Day of Giving, 100% of sales go to the Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Your contribution provides hot meals, housing, clothing, addiction support, and life skill classes to those in need. Together, we provide hope and make a difference. Visit brm.gives for more information.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound accident near exit 6. Northbound, you have about an hour from Greenwich through Bridgeport, and that's all congestion delays. The Lower Merritt might save you a few minutes at this point. On the Wilbur Cross southbound, an accident in Hampton near exit 60 being moved off the highway, and out of New Haven on 95, jamming through Long Wharf into West Haven. Traffic report is powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Elifson and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give: peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, mainly clear with a low near 30. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 55. Sunny and cooler Sunday with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli. Now on WICC 600 and 95.9. The voice of Connecticut.
And, of course, thrilled to have our buddy, our pal, former State Rep Chris Caruso back on the program for his Friday Look at Things. Chris feeling a bunch better. Hey, Chris, let's go over a few things here in about the 7 or 8 minutes we have left. Charter revision. I know our buddy Lenny has posted some ideas you have had for the city here. Give us some brief thoughts on that.
Yeah, I had put in to the commission 7 different ideas that the commission should look at. Probably one of the most important is the creation of an independent ethics commission with a code of conduct for elected officials, for city employees, for those folks doing business with the city, lobbyists and folks like that. And then I had other thoughts too, but I think we have an ethics commission now, but it has to be made independent, and it also has to function, and most importantly, it has to be able to levy sanctions where violations have taken place. So to put it in the charter, it will have the importance and the necessary strength in order to do those things. So, and then code of ethics would spell out what's expected of people in elected office and as city employees.
How about Governor Ned Lamont? Kind of job you think he's doing, and does he run again, Chris? What do you think? I think he does. What do you think?
I do too, Paul, and I think he's doing a fairly good job. I have no criticism. I think he works well with people. He's definitely reached across aisle to the Republicans. He works with them. He works with the Democrats well. I think when he needs to be tough, he is.
Yeah.
And I think that bodes well for the state. So, yeah, I think he'll run again. I think he enjoys the job. I think he enjoys the challenge involved. Right now, there's a challenge over cutting back on the budget expenses because of there's an actual cap when it comes to spending. That was created back in 1991 when the income tax came in. It was a balance. All right, I'm going to give you the income tax, Weicker said, but in return, we're going to cut expenditures. If you reach a certain cap, you can't go over it. And that's what they're experiencing now. But I do believe they'll get through it. There's been a surplus over $400 million that's projected for this year. So I think things are moving on the right track. I think the biggest thing is what's happening in Washington and how that will affect Connecticut with Medicaid, Medicare, and those programs. So that's something I think people have to keep an eye on and see what develops from that. Yeah.
The always entertaining Chris Caruso on the Bridgeport Board of Education. It's entertainment that you can't pay for. The state wants to give lessons. Actually, people think I'm kidding when I'm saying no. Part of the oversight is how to get along with each other. We're looking for yet another school superintendent. What do you think happens here?
Well, I think the new superintendent, the acting superintendent's, I think doing a fairly good job. He's definitely transparent. He's reaching out to different constituencies, and he seems focused on getting the job done. So I think he'll be in the mix for selecting, which I think helps the Board of Ed, because if they want someone that they've been working with who's doing a good job, he may be the guy they choose. So I'm not so much into this international search for a superintendent. Sometimes you have someone good right in your backyard, and that's the one you want to work with. What's happening with the Board of Ed, again, Paul, is not unique to Bridgeport. There are Board of Eds throughout the state that have unfortunately been dysfunctional. There's been this friction between superintendent and the board members. And I think, that's what's happened. The other thing is the system has been underfunded, frankly, by both the state and the city. And it's reached a height now where they're $36 million in debt, which also heightens the disagreement, the level of disagreement, with the board, the superintendent, the city. I think what was a positive move is when Governor Lamont spoke with the Commissioner of Education, and they're bringing in a team, and I think that's important. Now, the other thing is, I think they'll do an audit to figure out what's going on in the system. I know many members of the board have advocated for that, and I think a forensic audit is exactly what you need to see how money's being spent. But now the state will also have to put up in the sense of putting money into the system. The equal cost sharing, which is the state formula for education, needs to be adjusted because it's affecting cities like Bridgeport adversely. And in the end, the only ones who suffer are the kids in the system. So I hope things will work out. I'm happy the state's getting involved and trying to move through things. And I think that's very positive. So I look forward to a good year with the Board of Ed. I know elections are coming up this year for new board members. So we'll hear a lot of back and forth with candidates. But in the end, Paul, if you don't have a good school system, everything in the city is affected. Real estate, parents don't want to move into the city where the school system isn't working to the fullest. We've got some really, really dedicated teachers that are committed. They could go to other towns and make more money, frankly, but they're committed to Bridgeport. And I think that all bodes well. It's a foundation to improve. So I'm looking for, I'm a rooter for Bridgeport.
Sure.
Right. I'm in the fans section rooting for Bridgeport, and I'm hoping that things work out with the Board of Ed and the school system, the city, and the state, and get this moving in the right direction.
And Chris, finally, in about the 90 seconds we have left in this segment, the state of your party, the Democratic Party, of course, in Connecticut is still solid, from the governor's office to the constitutional offices to the House and Senate. But boy, Mr. Trump won again. 2 out of the last 3 times he's run. It would have been almost 3 times if it wasn't for 40,000 votes in 3 swing states, the House and the Senate. What does your party have to do? Rebranding, refocus? What do you think?
I don't think so. The Democratic Party is strong. It's always been for the working families, for the poor. I think we've just got to reconnect with people. I think that's what we did wrong last year with the election. And if we don't reconnect, it's to our loss. We've got to talk about what we've done. There's a lot of good things under Joe Biden. I know people beat the crap out of the guy, his agent. We did a lot of good things, and people have to talk about those things. And I think if that's done, it's important. The other thing, Paul, is we've got to speak truth to power. I think that's where we've lost it as politicians, that, with all the misinformation, the lying and everything going on, it turns people off. But the first thing is reconnect with the populace. You see what's happened last night, Arizona. Bernie Sanders, who's about 84 now? He goes, 5,000 people came to see him speak. That tells you something. People want to be connected. They want to be involved. And we, as a Democratic Party, have to reach back out to those people, because we've lost a lot of the people that were the bedrock of the party. The working families, those individuals, middle class. We've lost them, and we've got to reconnect to bring them back in.
Absolutely. Chris, great to have you back, and we will continue next Friday, sir. Have a great weekend, and we'll connect. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Paul. Take care now.
Appreciate it. There you go. He's back with his Friday thoughts. Always perceptive. Chris Caruso, longtime friend of the radio station right here at WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 southbound accident near exit 6. Northbound, you have about an hour from Greenwich through Bridgeport, and that's all congestion delays. The Lower Merritt might save you a few minutes.